Underdog Fantasy is the fastest-growing fantasy app and easiest place to play fantasy sports. Just jump on UnderdogFantasy.com or download the app, draft your team, and that's it. And if drafts aren't your thing, they also have a pick'em game where you can win 20 times your money in a single night. Use promo code RADIO, and Underdog will double your first deposit when you sign up with up to $100 in bonus cash. Deposit $100, get $100 free. That's promo code RADIO. Terms and conditions apply.
Visit voicesofwrestling.com to hear the rest of our great podcasts, as well as show reviews, columns, opinions, and updates across the world of wrestling.
You are listening to the Flagship Podcast with your hosts, Joe Lanza.
The fucking sun sucks. I don't know what you people see in the sun. I don't know how you people do the sun. It's just the dirt worst. I want nothing to do with it. I'd be content never going out in the sun again.
And Rich Crage.
This is the dumbest show. I cannot believe these people. Some people pay us $10 to listen to the show live. This is what we give them for 45 minutes.
Been doing this for 10 years. Why?
We're bigger than ever. More people listen to us than ever.
Why?
And we are live here on the Flagship Podcast. I am Rich. He is Joe. Joe, what's happening?
Yes. How are you?
Good. Yes, it's not a way to respond to how are you doing. But it's one way. It's all way. It's not the way, I would say. But yes, how are you doing?
Whatever.
I don't care. I don't care how you're doing. So.
No, you don't. You never care how I'm doing.
Well, that's not true. I just know not to care because you don't. You would never tell me if something was, really bothering you. So.
If I had an affliction?
Yeah. I don't think you would tell me.
No?
I don't think you would.
Maybe I would, maybe I wouldn't. I guess it would depend on the ailment. Like, if I'm having, boner issues, I don't know if I'm going to be like, yeah, well, thanks for asking,
honestly,
Rich.
that's the one I would think you would tell me. Like, if you had terminal cancer, you wouldn't tell me. I would just, get on this thing and send you the link, and I would never hear back and just be like, I don't know what happened to Joe. Whatever. And then TLB would have to eventually, sign onto your accounts and let everybody know that you had... But, if you had boner problem, I feel like you would tell me that instead. I guess you would. I don't know.
If I had terminal cancer, I definitely wouldn't tell anyone.
That's what I mean. You would just, one day, the day before, I'd be like, Joe, you ready to go tomorrow? You're like, yeah, sounds good, great. And then I would send you the link. You'd never come. You'd never sign on. I would eventually just go, I don't know what, I guess whatever. And then 5 days later, TLB would have to, sign in to your different accounts and have to tell people, oh yeah, Joe passed away last night. So,
I mean, I don't even know if I would tell my whole family if I had terminal cancer. It's just one of those things where it's I wouldn't want to burden people. I don't want people feeling bad for me. I don't think I'd tell anyone that. If I had boner problems, no, I don't think. If you were like, hey, Joe, how you doing? I'd be like, oh, thanks for asking, Rich. I haven't had a solid rod in about 3.5 weeks, though. Now that you add, I don't think I'd tell you that either. Now, maybe if I had the flu for the first time, maybe I'd tell you that. I think I'd tell you I had the flu. I would tell you that.
If you had the flu for the first time, yeah.
If I got the flu for the first time, because I've never had the flu, by the way.
No, of course.
I don't know if I've mentioned that.
You haven't. I don't think you ever have. Yeah, you did have the cough that lasted 9 months, but other
that
than that,
cough was something.
You just lost it in April, I think.
I think me and Meltzer were COVID patient 0. Yeah, no, that cough was something else. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess there's certain things I would tell you. I'm just I don't know. You want me to say? It's always awkward. We've been doing this 10 years. It's still awkward. I don't know how to open a show.
I don't know either. Yeah, we're pretty.
I don't know how to open a show. I don't know how to do it.
How do you? I don't know. I don't know. Is there a way to open a show? Is this the way to do it? I don't know. Are we doing it right? I'm not sure. We're still learning. We're still learning.
I guess you just have to do that, I don't know, performative, scripted, fake radio voice thing. And we got a lot of great topics for you today. Right. We're going to talk about. I guess that's how you open a show.
I'm Rockin' Rich. He's Jamming Joe. We got a great show for you in store. We're going to talk about
Blade Job and Chair Shot are here.
Yeah. Ding, 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 ding. We got bells ringing and everything.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how to open a show. I don't know
Yeah.
How do other podcasts open their show? Other wrestling podcasts?
I don't know. They all stink, so I don't listen to them. So
Bill Simmons plugs stuff and then plays the same Pearl Jam song.
Sounds like you. It's a kindred spirits.
I mean, Yeah, I mean, Brian Alvarez says, "How's it going, everybody?"
Yeah, how's it going, everybody? Mentions something and then goes, Dave, ratings.
Yeah, and yeah, and see, Dave doesn't know how to Dave doesn't have something he does to open the show.
No.
So we're not alone in that. I mean, I just
it's awkward. It's weird. Yeah, there's never a good way to do it, especially when you're if we were only doing it like our shows, maybe then we would have to like really cut to the chase here and be like, all right, Joe's here and I'm Rich. Let's talk about stuff. We get right into it, but we got enough time to fuck around for a little bit. So until we desperately run out of time and then have to squeeze 7 topics into the last 40 minutes, which is fine.
Well, I mean, we don't have a boss. We're our own boss.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah. So that affords you the ability to not know how to open a show. I'm just trying to think of other podcasts that I listen to. I don't know. Does anyone know how to open a show?
Not really. No, most of the ones I've heard, it is kind of playful, bantery stuff to start, like a loose topic to kind of start, and then, something happens, and then they'll get into the meat and potatoes of it. So
I got to tell you, opening the show to me is the most challenging part, because when I do solo audio, that's the only thing I struggle with. I'll re-record the opening 19 times. I'm cursing. I'm swinging in the air because I'm screwing it up. But then once I nail the opening and start talking,
you're good to go. I'm the same way. Yeah.
One take from there. Then it's no problem. And I know you've said the same thing. Like, it's just,
I'll be doing it and I'll realize it's like a minute long. And I'm like, what am I talking about? Like, what am I doing? Why am I talking for so long? Just say what the show is, say what my name is, and get on, man. But yeah, it's like, I'm like, hey, Flagship Patreon. This is the Slamboree Jamboree here on Flagship Patreon. And we're talking about And I'm like, what am I doing? Just talk. Just go. Yeah. Come on. Like, it's not going to be a problem.
And the other thing is, with a podcast, they already know what they're listening to.
Yeah, why am I introducing it? It's obvious what you're listening on. Yeah. Nobody is, especially the Patreon stuff. Like this, at least, I feel the need that we have to kind of do the rigmarole, because there are people that are discovering us for the first time ever. There's somebody listening right now that has never listened to us before and probably will never listen again. So hello and goodbye. You should try us out, though. We're pretty good, so maybe stick with us for another hour. After an hour, if you don't like the vibe, totally fine. Hit the bricks. We don't want you anyway. But no, the Patreon one is like, those people know who we are. They've paid us for that show. They know the type of show. They're not going to click on and go, oh man, I wonder if this is a Jovember to Remember or a Slamboree Jamboree. Slamboree Jamboree. There we are. Like they know what it is going in. They know who I am. They know what it is. They know what year I'm covering. It's all very obvious, but yet we still feel the need to clue them into it. I don't know why. Yeah.
Well, for Jovember now, I kind of have not a scripted opening, but one that I kind of repeat almost word for word just to make my life easier. So like I'll listen to the last one and see how I opened it, and then I make sure I open the next one the same way, like with the same kind of, you know what I mean? Like it's not technically scripted, but it helps me avoid the 19 different attempts to start it and then getting mad at myself and then starting over again. And then I close it the same way too. That way, at least, all right, that's pattern.
That stress
so
is gone. You don't have to worry about that stress anymore.
Yes, exactly. That's out of the way, and then I can concentrate on the content. I've been listening to the Mike Francesa podcast.
Oh God,
because I just can't let go. And first of all, it's the most mailed-in podcast you ever heard.
I'm not surprised. Yeah, so it was the last third of his career. So yeah, not surprised there.
His contract finally ran out, so he signed up with something called Bet Rivers podcast.
Oh, I know. Yeah, Bet Rivers. They have a casino near here. Are they everywhere?
They have a podcast network, allegedly.
Rivers Casino. All right. I thought so. I was on. There's a Rivers Casino not far from me, but I did not know there was that many of them. But I see now that there's ones in Philly, Pittsburgh.
Well, I don't know if this is even the same thing.
It is. Bet Rivers. It's definitely the same one. It's definitely the same one. Yeah.
So they backed up the fucking Brinks truck and gave him a fucking pile of money to do this dopey podcast. They're like 29 minutes long, minimal effort. Like he talks about the horse racing, like it's just
the last person betting on harness racing in the world is
like, because he owns race horses. So like now he's just like, look, I'm old. You're paying. I'm just talking about what I want to talk about. I don't care if anyone listens to this because the money's guaranteed. So once a week he has Bobby Valentine on the show. Talk baseball. Okay, that's his big guest. But what he does is he gets Valentine on, but because he did radio for 40 years, he's still in the habit of like every 5 or 10 minutes.
Oh, this is Mike Francesa, Bet Withers. I'm talking here with Bobby Valentine, former manager of New York Mets. It's like, you don't have to. We know, man.
Valentine will finish answering a question. We're here with Bobby Valentine on the Bet Rivers Podcast Network. I'm Mike Francesa. Like, he's doing the radio reset, which is only intended if people are flipping the dial.
Yeah, you don't need the radio ID. You don't need the radio ID anymore, pal. It's all right.
Dude, they slapped play. They know what they're listening to. Like, they know who the guest, but he's like in that habit, you know? So that's that just the difference between, you know, like, you don't need to set up the fucking slamboree jamboree because they hit play. They want to listen to it and they know what it is, but you get caught in those bad habits, I guess.
I feel like you have to. Yeah, I can't imagine a worse existence than listening to the Mike Francesa Bet Rivers podcast. But
jeez,
good money if you can get to it. Good money if you can get it. No, more like
you're working stiff on me, brother.
Well,
jeez,
yeah. I mean, what are you doing? Why are you listening to that? You just can't let it go.
Because I've been listening to Mike Francesa since I was in short pants in my father's back seat when I was 8 years old.
Yeah, I get it. No, it's fair. It's fair.
You know, I can't let go. How can I let go? Like, I'm going to listen to him till he's dead. You know, if the content's not good, but at this point, that's the charm. You know, because then you go online and everybody just riffs on them, and you know. But thanks for the slander.
I'm sorry, I apologize. That was rude.
Yeah, you're really working stiff here. Jeez, that
was quite rude. I apologize.
You know, what are you, Hangman Page? Jeez, take it easy on me. God. Anyway, that's how we open a show.
Yeah. With awkwardness and weird stories and playful banter, but we do have a great show for you tonight, though. We do have plenty of stuff that we need to get to in the world of wrestling. We have Stephanie McMahon, leave of absence. She was nice enough to do this before the show and not after the show or during the show or whatever, so we got some time to take that story in, got some news and notes about that, some stuff that people have kind of clarified or figured out about this leave of absence, so there is some new stuff on that. The Sasha Banks Naomi walkout, which now feels like doesn't that feel like that was like 3 weeks ago at this point? Because wrestling is so weird and dumb.
Remember when Kota Ibushi talked about the fucking?
Oh
Yakuza?
yeah, that was last week, right?
Yeah.
Talked about the Yakuza, and we were wondering if New Japan would exist anymore in a couple days.
Remember when MJF was unhappy with his contract?
Yes, yeah.
Wrestling years ago too,
ridiculous.
Right?
It's so ridiculous. There's just always crazy stuff happening. So we'll talk about the Sasha Naomi situation. We'll talk about Stephanie McMahon leave of absence. New Japan's best of the Super Juniors tournament. We have seen it all. We're going to react to every single one of the tournament participants so far, stuff that stood out to us, stuff we've liked, disliked, all that sort of stuff. New Japan Capital Collision. That was their show in DC this last week, so we'll talk about that. RevPro has a huge show coming up this weekend, RevPro Epic Encounters 2022. On paper, looks like an awesome show. We'll obviously, we've been following RevPro and pretty big on them for quite a while now, so excited to talk about that show, preview that. Ric Flair is having his last match, this time for real, I'm sure, because it's called Ric Flair's last match. He can't go back from that, I'm sure, but we'll talk a little bit about that. And then a brand new wrestling company, of course, from the authors of Pain, Akam and Razor, with the new wrestling promotion that has a very, very strange card. Has to have some weird money backing. We'll theorize what the hell's going on with Wrestling Entertainment Series, and also Shinjiro Otani, the latest on him, and as well as a benefit show coming up for him in a couple of days. But
aren't they the Legion of Pain now or something?
They are now, indeed. They are the Legion of Pain, yes. The former Authors of Pain, now the Legion of Pain. And yes, this show that we're going to talk about has a lot of parentheses, FKA, and then the name. So a lot of past WWE talent, a lot of past Major League talent on this show. It's very strange. I don't know why it's happening, where it's happening, why people are being booked for this thing, but we will talk about it in a moment. It is very, very strange, but that is Wrestling Entertainment Series. But first, let's talk about this Stephanie McMahon news that came out earlier today. A tweet from Stephanie McMahon's Twitter account that says, "As of tomorrow, I am taking a leave of absence from the majority of my responsibilities at WWE. WWE is a lifelong legacy for me, and I look forward to returning to the company that I love after taking this time to focus on my family." So that is, what do you make? Is that big news? Is it are some people overrating it, or some people underrating it? Where did you stand when you saw that news of Stephanie taking leave of absence? How did you react initially to that?
Did you see the follow-up quote?
Let me see. I don't think I did. Yeah, do you got it?
It just came through, yeah. Philanthropy is the future of marketing. Brands are going to win.
Are going to win.
Yes. Are going to win. Yes. Not running out of characters even either. Just...
No, plenty of characters, but yeah, got to put the R and got to put the It's she had been the chief brand officer of the company, of course. Done a lot of things as of late, but I don't know. What did you think about this news when you saw it? Is this a big deal, or is it just kind of something?
I think it's pretty obvious what happened here. There's a new chief brand officer in town, and her name is Brandy Rhodes.
Yeah, there's a new chief brandy officer. That's right.
That's right.
The Rhodes takeover continues, and I'm here for it, honestly.
This is breaking news, like right before we started. So, Rich, I don't know shit. I do know that Brandon Thurston said that his contacts in the company said that, number one, they didn't know about it until she tweeted. That can't be good.
That's great. Yeah, always good.
And number two, Nick Khan is taking over all of her responsibilities, which also can't be good. I don't know. I mean, look, if I would much rather, it's something extremely funny, like Nick Khan talking Vince McMahon into offing his own daughter. I mean, that would just be hilarious. I'd rather it be something like that than she's going home to spend time with Triple H because he's having another cardiac event. Hopefully it's nothing like that. But I also saw that Triple H just today was on an investor call.
Right.
So, his health, he's obviously healthy enough to be working. So it doesn't seem like it's that. With the abruptness of it and Nick Khan taking over her job duties, and it sure seems like this has the possibility of being something contentious. Now, we're doing a live show on Thursday, an hour after the news broke. So you listen to this on Sunday or Monday or Tuesday, and we're probably going to know a lot more. So you got to cut us a break. I mean, we nothing is known yet.
Right.
Other than
everything we're going to do over the next however many minutes is going to be just pure speculation and pure just kind of us. Yeah, we know nothing right now. We know, like you said, everything that we know we have just said on Thursday night. We know that she's taking leave of absence. Nick Khan is taking over her duties, and nobody knew about it until she tweeted out. That's what we know for a fact. We have heard some people say that they have talked to WWPR and I mean, have they been informed? Do they know? I don't know exactly, but Hunter's health, according to this person, said played very much a role in this happening. So I don't know.
Oh, it did.
Yes, yeah, and I don't know if that person wants that fully out there just yet. So again, that's like, I don't know who, if these people know, if the person that they talk to.
One of your secret sources?
No, it's not a secret source at all. It'll probably be out and about in time. But yeah, this person reached out to WWPR, and WWPR told them that Hunter's health is a part of the reason why this happened. Now, again, does that mean
look at Rich with the sources?
I'm just, and does that mean? But does that mean again, like you said? Does that mean
listen,
that?
Okay, listen, go ahead. Now listen, you can get yelled at in the DMs now. This is fantastic. You can get browbeaten for half a day in the DM. This is great. About time you take some heat, buddy. But anyway, go ahead.
But yeah, like, and again, does that mean that she just kind of looked at it and said, "Wait a minute, like my husband." Why am I not spending time with him and my family and all that sort of stuff instead of doing this shit? I'm just gonna, like, don't read into that Triple H has got days to live. You know what I mean? Like that doesn't mean, when health plays a factor in it, it doesn't mean that this man is on his literal deathbed. He might be, for all we know. I don't know. Again, who knows? But it could also be just a her looking at the lay of the land, her looking at her husband, all this sort of stuff, and saying, you know what? This is, it's time for me to do this stuff. Who knows? Who knows what could possibly be, exactly the reason for this? Similar to the Sasha Naomi thing, it's probably not one thing. It's probably not just something that happened overnight. But like you said, the abruptness of this, where nobody else knew, it's just a tweet sent out. It comes after, like, minutes after they just did an investor call. They did like a shareholders meeting, and then like 20 minutes later, she tweets that out. So who knows what is going on here exactly? But what we can react to and what we can definitively say.
Oh, so she said, okay, so the investor call was first.
I believe so. Yes.
So then he didn't, so that he wouldn't get questions.
Correct. I'm guessing that. Yeah, I don't know the exact timeline. I don't know if she tweeted that out during the call or immediately after, but I know that the call at least was going on or had finished by the time she had tweeted that out. So definitely not a thing that they were reacting to on the call itself. So, but yeah, it's what we do know for a fact though is, and we talked about it with the Triple H thing last year, or when the hell was that now? It feels like it was 20 years ago at this point, but I think it was last year, right around this time last year, right?
Cardiac event?
Yeah, when did the Triple H cardiac event occur?
It was 2021 for sure.
Yeah, let me see when the cardiac September of 2021. Okay, so anyway, little off on my timeline, but what we said then at that time is that this was people didn't make it out to be that big of a deal. You know what I mean? People did not make it out to be this monumentally huge deal at the time. And you and I came on the show and said, I mean, look at the succession plan of this company, the plan that had been in place for 2 decades of who was taking over the company, what roles they were all going to be in, Triple H getting his guys together, all that. You know what I mean? Like we said for years, I mean, this was building up for years and years and years and years, this succession plan of Stephanie and Triple H running the wrestling end of it, Stephanie and that team running kind of the business end of it. That succession plan that had been in place since the early 2000s basically was blown up with Triple H going and them basically sending him home, get out of here, go away, you know, all that sort of stuff. That was the end of that succession plan. But now we have officially reached the point where I think we can definitively say that the whole, I mean, if it wasn't blown up before with Triple H, the succession plan's blown up now, right? I mean, that's the idea of Stephanie acquiring this company, Triple H and Stephanie acquiring this company when it's done, or being the leaders of this company when Vince dies or whatever, that's done. Or when Vince decides he's going to retire, which will never happen, he'll die first. Like, we're done with that, right? Like, that's over. That's gone.
You know, maybe... we've got, look at this popping up in the live chat. Little Brandon Thurston action. He says the shareholder meeting was at 1 p.m. and her tweet was at exactly 4:30 p.m. with the close of the market.
Questions.
Yeah. So, I mean, you know, there you go. So what was I going to say? Oh yeah. The succession plan. Yeah. Well, I mean, look, I've always been team Vince will never sell. I don't know.
Today I changed. I was going to say that was my next topic there. Today.
Oh, well, then then keep going, man.
Yeah, I was going to say today I think I for the first time was like, maybe. You know, like I don't know that like we did this discussion even when Nick on had we always said that Vince will die in his post as, you know, leading WWE and all this stuff and no sort of sale. But with this, I mean, it's no longer what this says, you know, succession plan gone, blown up, done, forever. It's also, it ceased to be a family business at today. You know what I mean? Like, this is the day when there is no McMahon other than Vince that's involved every day in a power structure. I mean, before it used to be Linda as the CEO or whatever, Titan Sports, Vince as this, you know, then Shane got old enough to start doing stuff, and then Stephanie obviously got old to do stuff, and then you had Triple H. They're all done. You know what I mean? They are all, Vince McMahon is the only McMahon with anything to do with this company right now. And that is where now finally I go, okay, this now ceased to be a mom and pop family business. And it did a long time ago too. But, you know, they'll tell you, oh no, we're a small business, you know, family. No, that stuff's done now. It is no longer a family business at all. It is a $1 billion company, you know, with one McMahon that's still in charge. But otherwise it's, you know, it's Nick Khan and it's a bunch of other dudes and shareholders and all this sort of stuff.
If Vince slipped in the shower or his heart blew up from steroids tomorrow, Nick Khan would be running the company, correct?
Right.
So that's to the point you're making here. So that's why I'm kind of like, I've always been Vince will never sell. I don't know. And the fact that, you know, on every investor call, it's look, the answer is always we're open for business.
Mm-hmm.
Any interview, we're open for business. Now, I understand you should always say that. I mean, because you should, in theory, you should always be open for business. Someone makes you an offer you can't refuse. You know, you should never, you know, close all doors on those sorts of things, but maybe they really are open for business, you know, and the McMahon family would be intimately knowledgeable on that, and they've got their money, they've got their generational wealth, and maybe this is the direction that Vince wanted to take this thing before he passes away, and he wants to put his final stamp on his legacy by attempting to turn this thing into something bigger and more grander than it ever was. We all know he's always wanted to move away from pro wrestling and entertainment, wanted to be a player, a bigger player in the greater entertainment landscape than just the pro wrestling landscape. And maybe, Nick Khan was the first move to that direction, as that was the guy to hire. And he's just giving full autonomy to these Nick Khan decisions. And maybe they will sell. Maybe Vince will let Nick Khan do his thing and take this thing in a completely different direction than the family business, and Vince can rest easy when he passes away, knowing that he finally won in his mind.
Yeah.
That maybe he wants this to be the next Disney. I mean, I think that's crazy, and I don't think it can be, but the next Marvel, the next Disney, which, maybe that's his goal. And maybe he thinks, the old family business was never going to get him there, but this guy can. I don't know, but I'd have to think more on that. But maybe that, because you're right. I mean, they're all gone.
Yeah. Today was the first day where I finally was like, nah, man, maybe he is. Maybe at least, or even if he's not actively, like you said, like there's that. Okay, if that offer comes, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to sit down at that table. We have no family connection to this thing anymore. There's no real reason. It's not like I need it. My daughter's going to need this job, or my granddaughters are going to need this job, or whatever. Like, that's kind of all done. You know what I mean? Like, we've kind of broken that chain that has been around in the WWF, all the way since, hell, it goes back to even his great-great-grandfather, right? Jesse McMahon doing stuff with, promoting stuff in Madison Square Garden and all that sort of stuff. I mean, that we're now, that chain is broken. Vince is the only guy left in that entire family that still is a part of this, and yeah, like it's not out of the realm of possibility anymore to me after today's news that, yeah, okay, maybe when that right deal comes, Vince is now more prepared than ever to take that offer if the right offer comes.
Yeah, and then we'll just maybe the future of this thing after Vince is gone is just a series of weird CEOs from other businesses coming in to take turns running the thing. Yeah. The former CEO of fucking Netflix, Jim Snodgrass is now the CEO of WWE, and it just becomes just another
content factory,
that with a different boss coming in, and maybe that's the future here. Let's have some fun with it though. If that's the case, would people like Stephanie and Paul? I mean, we know they have the business connections. We know they have the wrestling connections. But would they have the money to do something on their own? Start something up. I mean, they don't have billions.
No.
That they don't have.
No, they do
not. Not till Vince dies. And then even when Vince dies, it won't be... Like, Vince is sometimes a billionaire, right? Like, he's not even a billionaire all the time. Right? Isn't that?
Yeah. Let me see what the recent. He may have finally gotten there to this point where he's pretty.
Is he always a billionaire now?
I think his net worth right now apparently is 2.2 billion. So yeah, okay, he's pretty in there now.
So it's pretty. Like, if the stock goes to $20, is he still going to be a billionaire? I don't know the answer to that, but.
Yeah, like what's that cash on hand for him? I have no idea. like you said, I don't know that. Yeah, I don't.
So when he dies, that'll be split between Stephanie. Well, maybe not. Maybe it all goes to Stephanie, but that'll be split between Stephanie and Shane.
Shane's ready to go to the lawyer and get that check. You know what I mean? They're like, all right, I'm so sorry about your guys' loss, and it's Shane and or what's it Marissa? What's his wife's name? Marissa or whatever. Yeah, rubbing Shane's shoulder, and he goes, him and Stephanie.
Hey, she used to work there too.
Yeah, Marissa Masola. Yeah, she was a babe. Good for him. But anyway, so she's rubbing his shoulder, and then the lawyer hands the check to them both, and they go, okay, yeah. Shane rips it open. It's like
a movie scene.
right? Like, I don't know what it would be. I don't know what, like, I don't know if it'd be funnier if it was like, you know, I don't want it to be like nothing or like a Jelly of the Month club, but it would be pretty funny to just be like $4 million or something. You know what I mean? Like, oh, god damn.
Or he just gets like the house,
right? Yeah.
You know,
Titan Towers, the deed to Titan Towers. It's all yours, but
and he has to pay the property tax on
right,
it.
right. It's got to
You
go
know?
to Vince's pool house or whatever. Yeah, the house at the pool. Yeah, that's.
But here's the thing: if they sell, then they are all billionaires,
Right.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So at that point, because Paul loves the wrestling, he loves the wrestling. At that point, maybe he's, how old is he? Like 53 or something like that.
Triple H, Paul Levesque. If you do not believe that he died, and he talked earlier today, so I do not believe he is actually dead. 52 years old.
All right. So let's say Vince hangs on 8 more years or something. So this man's 60. He's got good 20, 25 years in front of him. Optimistically, he's got billions of dollars. He's got the wrestling itch. Does he start something? He's got the connections. He's got wrestlers that love him, that would work for him, assuming the price is right. He's got he's got all the business connections. If they sell, then they have the money to really do something. See, I think they're smart enough. Triple H is smart enough now to where, like, as a millionaire, he knows we're trending towards this being a billionaire's game. You know what I mean? It's like, I think he already got his ass beat by Tony Khan once. Why would you get back into the game with far less money?
Right. And
lose again?
It would also be like kind of the weird. I mean, he'd have to be a total, like, I just love pro wrestling and I don't care that I'm running an indie type of thing, or I'm running like, a slightly above average, a US. He would have to be okay running the NWA or whatever. And I don't know. I mean, I think like the optics of that would be kind of weird too.
He wouldn't even just be going against Khan, though. He'd be going against WWE, which is still going to exist. Right. You'd be a clear number 3 at best.
It would have to be a total vanity project. It would have to be a total, like, I don't care that we're losing money. Like, I just want to do this thing because I love it and I love it. But I think a lot of people would look at it kind of like side-eyed if it's like Stephanie and Triple H running this, like, third tier, American wrestling. I mean, that would be kind of, you know what I mean? Like, the optics of that would just be really, really strange.
Well, it would be a marathon, not a sprint.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
So, you'd have to look at it from that perspective. But, so I don't know. I might be on Team Cell now.
Yeah.
I might have to switch allegiances to that. But I don't know. I guess we'll find out more. Do you have anything to add? I mean, it's like,
I really don't. Yeah, I don't know.
Anything.
I mean, the idea. I mean, I'm sure that everyone's saying the right thing, and when she's ready to go, she'll be able to be welcomed back or whatever. But like, you don't have to tweet this out. If it's we're gonna talk the same thing with Sasha and Naomi. If this was nothing and it was just whatever, you don't tweet this out. Like, she just doesn't appear at like, if she just didn't go to a bunch of meetings for a year, nobody would really notice. You know what I mean? Like, nobody would really care or notice, and she could just tweet out random pleasantries every so often or whatever, and everybody would be totally fine, and nobody would think anything of it. But the fact that they had to put a public face on this, that she had to tweet this out, that she had to say something, that adds some smoke to the there's something there. There's a reason why she felt to do that. So yes, she might come back in 6 months or a year or whatever, but I don't know. To me, I read this as like a bigger deal than just whatever, she'll be back, taking a leave of absence. It's nothing. She could have just taken a leave of absence and nobody would have ever known, and nothing had to be said. The fact that they felt they had to put a public face to this, they had to say this, that to me means something more is afoot than just merely Stephanie deciding she needs to take the summer off to go hang out with her kids or whatever. Like, there's something more brewing there, and we don't know exactly what that is. I don't know what that is exactly, but there's something there. I don't know if that's her, looking at the lay of the land. I don't know if it's truly like horrible health issues for Hunter. I don't know what it is exactly, but there's something there, because this is somebody who her job is pretty kind of loose anyway. You know what I mean? Like, there's not really a day-to-day thing that she has to get into an office and do. She could have done whatever she's doing, or this leave of absence, and nobody could have ever known. There's something to this. Tweeting this out, making it public, I have to believe there's a little bit more to the story than we know right now or will know for quite a while, probably.
Well, all right. What are we rooting for? We're rooting for power play, right?
Oh yeah, we're total takeover. Con takeover for sure is what we're playing for here. Yeah,
we're for maximum entertainment value. We're rooting for Tony Khan, not Tony. Well, that would be really
now we're cooking with fire.
Tony Khan takeover. Yeah, no
hostile takeover by the Khans. They were in it all along. Yeah.
Yeah, and they come out and handshake.
They do like the Bischoff. They do the Bischoff. Yeah, Vince thing exactly. Yeah.
But what we're rooting for here is Nick Khan power play, right? That's what we want for maximum.
I think there's two things that I'm rooting for. Nick Khan power play, where he says, Vince, your daughter, she's a bimbo, she's got to go, she's not helping anything, and Vince has to hem and haw, and then eventually he says, Stephanie, Nick's right, like you gotta go, type of thing, which would be awesome. Or what I'm really rooting for is that somehow this is related to the Sasha Naomi thing, and Stephanie is really all about women empowerment, and is like, Vince, you cannot talk to women like that, Dad, like that I'm rooting for too, because that would be pretty sweet, but I don't think that's probably the case. Maybe, who knows? Well, again, like you said, by Sunday we might sound really dumb and everybody will know clearly what the reason is for this, but I don't know.
Well, as they say in the biz, Rich, it is a developing story, so we will keep people abreast on this developing story.
Yeah, what would the Nick Khan power play like? What do you have in mind of how that all goes down to make it fun?
Just talking Vince into squeezing out his own daughter.
Yeah,
just cold blooded as hell. That'd be a lot of fun.
Like chief brand officer, he's just sitting there looking at the books, going, "Chief brand. Do we need a chief brand officer, Vince?"
He's like, Vince, I gotta level with you. I think she's got to go. Yesterday she told me she was tired, and we just can't have that.
Yeah. She had the sniffles and she said she was tired, Vince. I don't know if she's made for this business.
Yeah. I mean, she was talking about how exhausted she was with the kids and the cardiac event, and it's weak, Vince. It's weak. She's got to go. I mean, it's like, God damn it. You're right, Nick. Can't have that around here. That would be the best case scenario for people good. Like us.
Ooh,
if he squeezed her out.
Imagine the happiest man in WWE offices right now has got to be, other than the fact that he probably wants to blow his brains out because of what he has to do on a daily basis and get waking up at 2 a.m. or whatever and all that sort of stuff. Bruce Pritchard, man. That dude got fired by Stephanie. How many years ago? Was that 15 years ago at this point? When he got let go by Stephanie and Triple H as a way for them to be like, no, you know what? Like, get this guy out of here. Get all this old guard out of here. Get this shit. This is our company now. It's not Vince's company. Bruce, you got to go. He gets rehired, slowly works his way up the chain to where now he's back as like Vince's right-hand wrestling guy, and now Stephanie's gone and he's fucking there. It's unbelievable, all because he just like did a podcast where he didn't remember a bunch of stuff and did Jeff Jarrett voices. Like, this is incredible. What a dumb business. What a dumb business. Yeah. Man sings Jeff Jarrett songs and then gets rehired, and now he's like, at worst, like the fifth most important person in that company, probably.
I mean, maybe higher than that.
Right? Like, I'm including some financial people. Like, it's obviously Vince number 1, Nick Khan number 2. Yeah, Bruce is at best.
There's that other dude on the call.
Oh, Frank Riddick, right? Isn't his name Frank Riddick?
Yeah.
Yeah, that guy's more important, but
he's got to be up there.
Did I have that right? Is his name Frank Riddick? He's the CFO, right? I believe he's the CFO. Frank Riddick. I forgot if he got fired or left or whatever. He may have already.
Not for long, though. I mean, Nick Khan's on a warpath here.
Seriously. Yeah, man. Good Lord.
Yeah. Told people to watch out for this guy.
Yeah, again, like, he's gonna go back to the show that we did when this guy got hired, and we told you people, and some people listened to us, some people were smart. We said, this dude means business. Like, this guy is cutthroat. He's an asshole. He comes from a different world than the family business wrestling company business. And what has he done but blow up a fucking multiple decade succession plan and has got all of Vince's kids fired? Like, they're all gone.
But Jamie Horowitz is there.
Right.
Yeah.
Wild. Yeah, this is nuts. I mean, this is a big deal. I mean, people need to make a bigger story about this, because it is years of planning and constructing of what this company was going to look like for the next few decades is done. It's gone. It's not there anymore. Triple H is not ascending to power. Stephanie, not ascending to power. Shane, as you said, might get a lease on the Titan Towers, and that's it. Like, there's nothing. It's the family business is done. Linda, my wife at that time, Linda, gone. Like, what the hell's she doing?
Yeah.
Nothing.
Well, I mean, look, maybe we just wasted all of our time. It could be something as simple as the nanny quit. And, with the summer coming and the kid's not in school, she's got to tend to the children, maybe.
But again, just do that. You don't have to tweet that out. You don't have to tell people that, right?
Speaking of my wife at the time, how about Steph getting pictured without the wedding ring lately?
Is that true? I did not know that. Okay.
There is a picture.
Oh, let's get juicy. All right, let's do this. All right.
There is a picture of Steph at WrestleMania with one Brett Lauderdale.
Oh, so that's the new succession plan is Brett Lauderdale.
I'm saying, listen, coincidentally, the picture is with Brett Lauderdale. Okay. And she, her left hand's visible, and there's no sign of a wedding or engagement ring.
Okay.
Now, it is entirely listen, I cannot rule out that she was in the kitchen helping with the dishes or something, and just, took it off. Don't want it to go down the drain. You never know. She could have been clearing tables, but she had no wedding ring on in that photo with, coincidentally, Brett Lauderdale. How do you respond to that, Richard Craig?
I love it. That's a juicy one. I don't know.
You never know.
The Brett's moving and shaking. Is she the succession plan to GCW? Is Brett the succession plan to WWE? Like, what do we got here? What do we got going on? That's juicy. I like that. I did not notice that or pick up on that.
Yeah, look, Google the picture. It's out there.
I am looking at it right now. Well,
She's
right now I see
creepy
a Mother's Day photo, and there does not appear to be a ring in that Mother's Day photo. So
well, listen. No.
She's at home. She's at home. That's fine,
It's with the game changer himself, Brett Lauderdale. She's making her ugly witch face smile, and she has no wedding ring on. I'm just saying.
Okay, ask questions.
There's another one. With the fucking.
Yeah. She's got a ring on the. There's a ring on the index finger, but that's not a wedding ring.
There's one with Jimmy Lloyd as well. No wedding ring.
There we go. Now we're talking.
Yeah. With his Hurt Business tee, of course. I believe he's wearing the Hurt Business tee.
I see that now.
Oh, you see that picture?
Yeah, so now we can't see one of her hands in that picture. We cannot see one of her hands.
You can see her left hand.
You can see her left hand, yeah. Not there.
That's where you wear that, right?
It's
not optional. Like, it's fucking left hand. Her name's McMahon. She's a good Irish Catholic. You put that on your right hand, your left hand. Are they Catholic? I'm assuming.
It's sure.
McMahon. I mean, what
yeah,
else
I'd imagine. Well, I mean, he did wrestle God, so I don't know if that still applies.
Yeah, maybe they're not practicing.
I don't know if they're practicing Catholics. Yeah.
I don't know if they're taking the wafer, but they're in theory.
Yeah. I would imagine they are indeed Irish Catholic, but yeah, not a regularly practicing Irish Catholic.
They're Joe Land's a Catholic. Joe Land's a Catholic. Italian grandmother, Irish grandmother. I have to say it, but am I? But am I really? Right? Yeah. So look, no rings. More evidence pouring.
Ask questions. There you go. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see. This is keep an eye on this story though. This is a bigger deal than just a little thing. This is. I'd imagine there's more to this, but I guess we're gonna find out pretty soon what's going on with that. So.
She smiles like
it's a very weird smile. Yeah, I don't love it. It's very weird.
Yeah,
it's very creepy. Yeah, it's a creepy smile for sure.
Has anyone told her, like, doesn't Paul pull her aside and say, listen, Steph, I want you to take a look at something and give her photographic evidence of these.
You think he's got that? No, you get out of here. You think
alleged smile?
Alleged smile.
She likes that. It's not even like she just scrunches up her face. Like, she's not an ugly person.
No, not at all.
But when she smiles, but she smiles, and it's like the Seinfeld episode with the Two-Face. Remember the Two-Face?
Yeah.
Like, in a certain booth in the diner, she was ugly, and then it's like Steph when she smiles, all of a sudden you're like, you don't look like the same person. You look like you're dropping the eye of newt into a cauldron and fucking
eye of newt.
That's a good ingredient.
Witch face. That's a good ingredient. Yeah, it's a classic witch ingredient for sure. Absolutely.
Eye of newt,
yeah.
right? That's a good one.
Yeah, for sure.
The serpent's tongue and the eye of newt.
The eye of newt.
And then you mix it with the cauldron, bubbles. Yeah. You got like a black cat sitting in the corner. Yeah, that's what she looks like when she smiles. An otherwise lovely looking woman just transforms. Which would make Triple H a warlock if she's a witch. And it's all coming together because he kind of looks like a warlock.
He kind of does. Yeah, they do have a certain appearance to them that is not. Warlock is rough, but
he does. I think they're into the dark arts.
The dark arts. He does like Poppy. He does love Poppy a lot. So
he likes Poppy.
He does like Poppy. He does like Shotzi Blackheart too. So that's
yeah, he's into that. They might be into the occult. I don't know.
Ask questions. That's all. That's all we're to say this week. Is definitely ask questions. There's a lot of.
Imagine a new listener saying, I really need more on this Stephanie McMahon thing. These guys seem serious.
They were talking about Eye of Newt.
Let me give this a listen.
Oh my God! All right, so you have anything else on this guy?
Clearly not.
Yes, you have stretched on and on. So, all right, let's get to this story that feels like it happened 7 weeks ago. Sasha Banks and Naomi walk out of World Wrestling Entertainment. So, on Monday's episode of Raw, the WWE Women's Tag Team Champions, Naomi and Sasha Banks, left the building. Originally, there was going to be a six-pack challenge to determine Bianca Belair's next challenger at the Hell in a Cell Premium Live event, I believe. It was going to be Asuka, Becky Lynch, Doudrop, Nikki A.S.H., Naomi, and Sasha Banks. This is eventually changed to just being Becky Lynch and Asuka. WWE pretty quickly launched an all-out assault, I would say, PR-wise, on Banks and Naomi. They had Corey Graves address it on the air and mention them as summarily and unprofessionally leaving the building. Definitely not Vince McMahon telling him to say those words at all. Definitely Corey Graves' actual words, summarily and unprofessionally. And then later that night, they released a statement that said, quote, when Sasha Banks and Naomi arrived at the arena this afternoon, they were informed of their participation in the main event of tonight's Monday Night Raw. During the broadcast, they walked into WWE Head of Talent Relations John Laurinaitis' offices with their suitcases in hand, placed their tag team championship belts on the desk, and walked out. They claimed they weren't respected enough as tag team champions, and even though they had 8 hours to rehearse and construct their match, they claimed they were uncomfortable in the ring with two of their opponents, even though they'd had matches with those individuals in the past with no consequence. Monday Night Raw is a scripted live television show whose characters are expected to perform the requirements of their contract. We regret we were unable to deliver, as advertised, tonight's main event. So per PW Insider, Banks was upset with the creator for the planned main event. She met with Vince McMahon. Vince apparently did not alter his plans or adjust things in a manner that Banks liked, so she left the building. And as I mentioned in that press release or statement, that they both walked into John Laurinaitis' office, put their tag team titles on the desk, and then left the show. So wow, that statement that's a thing, man, right? That's they don't do that for everybody. There's something very strange with that.
There is, Rich. I have to read you this. I have to read you this from the chat. I don't. We can move forward, but I have to read this. Frank Kirschner in the chat. I had to mute because I was crying laughing. He says, "This Stephanie smile is like a white woman in a Mexican restaurant. Please, she just told the waitress gracias."
That's an all-time. That's so great. Congratulations. Oh my God, that's great.
He says gracias and then turns to you.
Yeah, that means thank you. Like explains it too. So. That is so good, Frank. You rule. That is incredible.
My
Congratulations.
stomach hurts.
Frank, that's awesome.
Hun, did you hear me? I got the corn tortillas.
Right?
Ooh, I can't take it.
The corn tortillas is perfect. Too proud of getting the corn tortillas. Yeah.
Corn tortillas.
She gets the
face.
fajitas. She gets the steak fajitas. Calls it carne asada first off to try to,
Yeah.
And then flour or corn. Corn.
Then makes the face. Then makes the face. Scrunches the face.
Well, that's it for us. That was pretty good. So that's the shortest flagship
dying.
we've ever done. Yeah, I don't know how we can go back from that. All I can see, I just see that face now. It's like the worst Tex-Mex place ever, too. You know what I mean? Like that's the place I'm envisioning. Like the worst, like Uncle Julio's or whatever. You know what I mean? Like it's not like authentic at all. It's Uncle Julio's or it's Chili's or something like that.
Yeah.
Do you guys have Uncle Julio's by you? I don't know. Is that a thing everywhere?
No, I didn't know that was a chain.
Oh, I didn't know. Okay, I didn't know if Uncle Julio's was a chain. Well, there's not. What are the chain? Used to be Chi-Chi's. I don't know. Was that a thing everywhere else?
Chi-Chi's, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I remember Chi-Chi's. Yeah.
So it's like there's like a fountain in the middle of it and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uncle Julio's isn't everywhere? Oh.
No, I never heard of that. I thought you just made that up.
Yeah.
I thought you were.
No. I'm not being. Yeah. Yikes, Rich. No, it's a chain of Mexican restaurants by me. So. I assume there was more of them because there's a lot of them around me, but apparently it's not a thing everywhere. Okay.
You're reading about Sasha and Naomi. I'm muted. I'm crying. There's tears coming down my cheek. My stomach hurts, and then I figure, all right, I already laughed, so I'm gonna be good. But then I just lost it again. Oh man.
Hold on. It appears there are many. Again, I don't know how close to you any of these are, but there are Uncle Julio's in Allen, Dallas, Grapevine, Lubbock, Arlington, Fort Worth, Katy, and Spring.
Not near any of those places.
Well, all right. Work your way over there. So.
All right, let me ask you a question. I live in Texas.
I have no idea. I am your mother who thinks that you are near Dallas and also near Houston and also near El Paso.
That's not even where I'm going with that. That's not even where I'm going with that. Why would I go to Uncle Julio's instead of a million other Mexican restaurant choices?
I agree. I'm with you. I have the same problem. I don't go to Uncle Julio's that often either. But
hey, you're in fucking Chicago. Why would
sometimes
you
have some people are. I don't know, man. People love chain restaurants.
Yeah.
I would love to know what would make somebody, what would possess somebody to go to a chain Mexican restaurant in a town like this. But
I mean, sometimes you want authentic Mexican. Sometimes you want Tex-Mex. But either way, I think I could do better than Uncle Julio's down here, right? Like,
yeah, certainly.
So, but now if I see an Uncle Julio's, I got to pull in.
You got to pull it. Yeah. No, you really don't. You don't.
Well, now I got to do it.
No, you really don't. I wouldn't. Yeah, I would.
How's the salsa?
Yeah.
Well, that's not a good
fine. It's okay. I can't say it's not horrible, but it's not good, if that makes sense. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's fine.
Do you think they're squeezing it out of a bag, or are they really back there?
Yeah. I think it might be coming from
Possible.
I think it's coming from a truck, yeah.
Could be coming right off that Cisco truck.
That Cisco truck, yeah.
It's possible, huh?
It's very possible, unfortunately. But
well, every time I say Cisco, even though it's spelled different, I have to say thong, 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 thong.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right.
Enter the Dragon. Cisco, Enter the Dragon. Yeah, that's the name of the album.
It was. Yeah. Do you know the group that Cisco was in before he went on his own?
Shit. For the sake of time, I'm gonna say no.
Drew Hill.
That's right.
Drew
Hill. DRU.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Hill. Yeah.
Baltimore's finest. Drew Hill. Yeah.
Drew Hill. Yeah. Are they Baltimore's finest?
But, they're from Baltimore. I know that. But
did they call themselves Baltimore?
I don't know if they call themselves Baltimore's finest.
So you're calling them.
I'm calling them Baltimore's finest. Yeah, I was listening to a podcast about. You might like this one too. It's about Cal Ripken and his consecutive game streak or whatever, and it's all about this conspiracy theory that there was this one random game that you might know the Cal Ripken Kevin Costner story. Do you know all about that?
Yeah, where Costner fucked his wife.
Allegedly.
Yeah,
Costner fucked his wife, and the idea was that like when that was all going on, that they made up like a phony power outage in Camden Yards to explain why they couldn't play a game that a lot of the players at the time are like, why are we not playing this game? Like, it's fine. Like, there's only a few lights out. It's not that big of a deal. So this is a podcast that kind of explores, all this stuff about why was this power outage worthy enough? Like, who caused this power outage? They don't come to any conclusion. It's just kind of like, it's a fun little story all about it. So they're interviewing a guy who works at the stadium, who works at Camden Yards, and they're going through all this, and they're saying, okay, he goes, yeah, I did this, or I was part of the light team, I was part of this team, I was doing this sort of stuff. And they're talking, and he goes, yeah, you might know my son. Do you know the artist Cisco? And the guests or the hosts are like, what? Cisco's your son? Yeah. He's like, yeah. You know of him? And they're like, yes, we know of Cisco, your son. Are you kidding? Like,
do we know of him?
Yeah, he was like nonchalantly like, yeah, I don't know. Yeah. My son's made some music. You may have heard of him, Cisco. It's like, yeah, we know Cisco. Like, we got that. Of course. Yeah, we got it. So, yeah, that was a fun little wrinkle in that story. That's a good podcast. You would enjoy that one, I think, about the theory of Cal Ripken or Kevin Costner. Cal Ripken coming home and finding Kevin Costner banging his wife. But
yeah. Now you don't want to come home and find Kevin Costner banging.
No. That's
Now if it's pre-Waterworld or post-Waterworld, that might make a difference, right? Because he was a much bigger star.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got that revival though with Yellowstone. He's kind of back in the mix, right? That's a big show.
It is a big show. Yeah, I didn't know Costner was on that show. There you go.
Let me double check that before fucking the Swink.
I haven't seen the Swink's not in there today. I don't know what he's doing. So
can't run him off, did I? Yellowstone.
I hope not. No, I don't hope you didn't.
Yellowstone. Probably should have put
Great Radio.
Yeah, he's in that. Yeah,
okay,
yeah, of course. Yeah, he's the star. Oh, you know who's in that Yellowstone? Piper Peeraboo. I was a big fan about 15 years ago.
Piper Peeraboo. I don't know if I know who
she
Piper
was. Coyote Ugly, the lead in Coyote
Ugly.
Oh,
yeah.
She was in a lot of stuff back then, around that time. Looks like she's getting some work again.
Good for her.
JL was a big fan of the Piper Peeraboo at one time. Big fan. Haven't seen her. I forgot she existed, honestly. Oh, yeah, there she is. Yeah, a little older. Did you see the Coyote Ugly, Rich?
I did see Coyote Ugly, yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting movie. I don't know.
Yeah.
What's going on, guys? This is Rich from the Flagship Podcast letting you know about our friends at Drizzly. And if you look for it, every day has a cause for celebration. You can celebrate a friend for their promotion, baby, wedding, life, whatever thing. Celebrate yourself for keeping the couch warm. And look, that's no easy task, especially if it's a big couch. Or maybe you just want to celebrate living in the year 2022, where you can get beer, wine, and spirits delivered from Drizzly in under 60 minutes without leaving that couch. Right now, Drizzly is giving all new customers $5 off their first order with code FAST5. So download the Drizzly app or go to drizzly.com, that's DRIZLY.com, and use the promo code FAST5 for $5 off your first order. So as I mentioned, Drizzly is the most convenient way to buy beer, wine, and spirits with delivery to your doorstep in under 60 minutes. You get it when you need it. Conveniently as well, you can shop across multiple stores and choose from a huge selection of beer, wine, and spirits. So you get exactly what you want. And best of all, you can shop across multiple stores and compare prices to find the best deals on what you're looking for. And Drizzly, the most common use for Drizzly is a casual night at home. It's the weather sucks. You got a couple buddies over. You're in the middle of cooking. You're in the middle of a Netflix binge. You're watching a wrestling show, whatever it may be, whatever you have going on that you don't want to leave the house. That is where Drizzly comes in with convenient home delivery in under 60 minutes. So again, you're going to want to go to download the Drizzly app or go to drizzly.com. That's DRIZLY.com. Again, DRIZLY.com, drizzly.com. And use that promo code FAST5 for $5 off your first order. Drizzly is the most convenient way to buy beer, wine, and spirits with delivery to your doorstep in under 60 minutes. The #1 app for alcohol delivery. Download the Drizzly app or go to drizzly.com, DRIZLY.com, and use that promo code FAST5.
Underdog Fantasy is the fastest growing fantasy app and easiest place to play fantasy sports. Just jump on UnderdogFantasy.com or download the app, draft your team, and that's it. And if drafts aren't your thing, they also have a pick'em game where you can win 20 times your money in a single night. Use promo code RADIO, and Underdog will double your first deposit when you sign up with up to $100 in bonus cash. Deposit $100, get $100 free. That's promo code RADIO. Terms and conditions apply.
All right.
I don't know how to go back from the Mexican restaurant thing. Sasha Banks and Naomi, they walked out of WWE. WWE released a statement. All right, so let's get to the statement part, because I think that's the most interesting thing of this entire thing. And I wrote about it at flagshippatreon.com about that WWE very often, if the talent will come and go, very rarely do people walk out in the middle of the show. That is something that Vince McMahon very much does not like. If you can't tell by these statements and having Corey Graves, mention them on air and all those sort of things, the offensive that they have gone on, that tells you that that's not something they love at WWE. They definitely are not big fans of you walking out in the midst of a show. There's some other stuff about this too that I just find really fascinating with how pointed this release was. And it's so strange that all this week, I don't even know why I bother doing this, but sometimes I would jump onto Twitter and see what the hell was going on, what conversations were going on. And instead of people actually digging into what the hell's going on in this situation, why are two talents leaving in the middle of a show? Why is WWE burying these talents for leaving in the middle of the show? Let's talk about that. But instead it's Dave said that Naomi's stupid and now Brian Alvarez. It's why are we talking about this shit? There's so many bigger things to talk about here. And to me, the second paragraph, which I haven't seen anybody talk about, to me is the biggest indictment of this entire thing. And it is, quote, they claim they weren't respected enough as tag team champions, and even though they had 8 hours to rehearse and construct their match, they claimed they were uncomfortable in the ring with two of their opponents, even though they'd had matches with those individuals in the past with no consequence. What that is right there is that Banks and Naomi, what they thought was a private conversation with either Vince McMahon or John Laurinaitis or whatever, talking about whoever those two talents are. We can probably assume who those two talents are, but we can make wild speculation about that. Those two talents probably know who's being talked about. They know they're being talked about here, but that is what was probably to them a private conversation where they addressed issues about two of these opponents being aired out, and okay, you're going to leave. Well, we're going to tell you that you buried your fellow workers, that you told these, that you came and told us that these two people, Doudrop most undoubtedly being one of them, right? There's no question Doudrop is one of them. I don't know if I know exactly who the other one is. It's probably Nikki, but I don't know for sure, right?
I don't even want to recklessly speculate, because here's the thing. That's been debunked by everyone. Dave Meltzer, Sean Ross Sapp, the person, I talked to somebody, and that person said that was not the case, that was total bullshit, that they had no problem with any of the opponents. It was 100% the booking. But here's my theory on how that ended up in that statement. I don't think WWE just pulled that out of nowhere to make them look bad. I think that they were uncomfortable with it being a six-way match and having those two people in the match, but not because they were afraid to work with them for their safety or their health, because they were uncomfortable with the booking of the match. Right.
That's how I read it too, for the record.
Yeah, but people were taking it a different way. People were taking it, they didn't want to work with these people.
Oh, no. Yeah, no, I'm thinking, and that's the reason I brought in Doudrop, is it's probably just why are we battling Doudrop for the title?
Right.
Why does that, no, I don't mean that Doudrop's a reckless wrestler or Nikki Ash. Nikki Ash is obviously not a reckless wrestler. Just the idea that, these people are dorks. Why are we why are they challenging for the titles? Why do we have to face them to determine who the champion is?
The problem was then Sasha and Naomi ended up having to debunk it from the other standpoint. Because didn't something, I forget, there's been a million different reports, but didn't something come out where they had this, they told people they knew that they didn't have any problem wrestling anybody in the match because it wasn't, so it's people took it the other way.
Right.
I think a lot of people thought it meant, but I don't think that's what it meant. But I don't think WWE cares whether you misinterpreted that or not.
No, they wanted it out there, and the reason that that part of the statement is there is because they want the people in the back, the workers, to think, man, these people buried us. They buried you. They buried my friend. They buried our fellow, it's to make them look like the bad guys in this situation. To make the WWE is releasing that statement, and it's so strange that you see interpretations of this statement and interpretations of this, and you have so many people saying, "Oh, this just proves that Sasha Banks is a mover and a shaker in this business because people are talking about her." You dorks! WWE is releasing a statement telling you whether you interpret it or not. The goal of WWE internally is to release this statement to make you or make their employees or make whoever think, wow, those people are unprofessional. They don't like that. They think that they're above this, that they're above the titles, that they don't want to work with you, that they don't want to do this. They're bad employees. They left in the middle of the show. They screwed over fans because the fans didn't get their main event or stuff. That's the intention of this. So you can take it as, wow, Sasha's a mover and a shaker or whatever. But the goal of it from WPR is to bury the fuck out of these people for doing something that they thought was super unprofessional and leaving in the middle of the show with Vince McMahon hates and despises, and he's probably even doubly upset because he got Sasha in the room, apparently, according to PW Insider, and kind of said, no, I'm not going to change my plan. And then Sasha still said, well, screw you, I'm done then. I'm out. And that hurts him. That always hurts that. Nothing more than Vince McMahon not being able to do the Vince McMahon charm on somebody is what infuriates him more than almost anything. It happened with Steve Austin all those years ago as well. That's why I wrote at FlagshipPatreon.com, is that when he gets, you can tell when he gets super, super upset, it's because it's somebody that he believes in, somebody that he respects, somebody that he thinks is talented, and that the McMahon charm doesn't work on them anymore. And then he flips out. He's done. Because that's what Sasha did. Sasha just said, you're not going to convince me of anything. We're leaving. We're done. And that, combined with leaving during the middle of the show, set them on this tirade where they could have just easily not said anything, changed the main event, done any sort of number of things to do this. But the fact that they have Corey Graves on there, the fact that they have the statement out there, they're on the warpath here. They're on the offensive here, and the goal is to make these two, Naomi and Sasha Banks, look like the bad cops in this.
Yeah, and I think Sasha leaving once before probably contributed to Vince's frustration too. And so all of those things, I think, because they've never done this statement like this, like you said, and these aren't the first people to walk out. This has happened like a dozen times. I mean, you go back, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Ultimate Warrior, Ali, Pac, Jeff Jarrett, Road Dogg, Sasha Banks herself. You go right down the line. I'm probably forgetting several.
Right.
So.
And probably numerous ones we don't even know about. You know what I mean? Where somebody got up in a huff and left. And
came back in an hour or came back the next week or whatever. How about half the roster on the night of Montreal? So it's not like, this hasn't happened before. We don't have to paint these two as trailblazers and heroes because it was one of these two had done it once before. I mean, it's not, so this isn't totally unique. But I think all of the circumstances around this one that you noted have made this. I think Vince flipped his shit, especially being so close to showtime and with the match already announced. And that's what led to this totally bizarre statement, which despite all of those other walkouts that we just noted, they've never done anything like this in response to one of them.
Right. And Corey Graves mentioning it on air as well, summarily and unprofessionally. I mean, that is Vince. Those are Vince words, 100%. Maybe not unprofessionally, it could be any, but summarily is absolutely a Vince McMahon word. He uses that word all the fucking time. So summarily and unprofessionally. To have Corey Graves get on the air and have to tell you, oh, well, the reason why the main event's not going to happen is because Sasha and Naomi left unprofessionally and summarily. Like, that is, they'd never do that for anybody, ever. Why would they? Like, why would you even do that? But exactly. Why would you ever do that? There's something different about this situation. Something that's got Vince McMahon really, really in a tizzy. Got WWE, and I don't know what that is exactly. It's impossible to know exactly what. And I've seen a lot of people speculating. Oh well, the tag team titles, or why didn't they want to win, or Naomi was going to win the match. Why would she walk out? I don't know why they left. I don't know what this built up to. I don't know if this is something that's been in going on for months and weeks on end. I don't know if Naomi was pissed about something. I don't know if Sasha was pissed about something. I'm not going to speculate on that. I'm not going to say, they were wrong to leave because they were going to win the match. I have no fucking clue. Look, a couple weeks ago, I nearly walked out of my job for something very mundane, something very stupid, something that was something I do every single week, but it had been after a week of being built up and shit on and a bunch of stuff where I was just like, fuck this. I don't need this shit anymore. And I had to take a walk, and I very nearly walked. And if somebody would have said, oh, they told Rich to do that, and he quit because of that. Like, you might think, oh wow, he quit because of that. Like, he does that all the time. No, it wasn't that. That's the reason I quit. It was the months and weeks and years of built up tension that finally broke me. And it was that one little thing that I was like, you know what? No, fuck this shit. So yeah, it's possible that that's it. So yeah, speculating, oh, they left because I don't know why they left. They were going to win the match, or oh, they were going to get tag team, or they were going to get title shots or whatever. No, you can't do that. We have no idea what was said in the room. We have no idea how it was presented to them. We have no idea how their response to it was taken. We have no idea if this has been built up for a while. We have no clue. So wildly speculating on, oh man, I can't believe they left for these reasons. Like, you can't do that. You just can't. Who knows? Who the hell knows what the reasons were for leaving? Yeah,
this could have been the break point. And look, some of the reports are that, yeah, Naomi was going to win the match or whatever, but then they were both going to be used individually as pawns in the singles title programs. And Sasha very much wants to make these tag team titles something important, which she did the first time around with Bayley too. So it's not like this is, something new, at least when it comes to Sasha. And, and they wanted to defend those tag team titles at the pay-per-view, and it didn't look like that was going to happen because they were going to be broken off into these singles matches. And like you're saying, this could have been weeks or even months of buildup of them pushing for this and pitching this and being told different things every week. And then they come to TV on this particular Monday, and they're given this plan. And now they know that the tag team titles are on the back burner again. And not only that, but they're being used to put over the two singles champions. And then they look at each other and they're like, you know what? Fuck this. Because they don't listen to us. And in Sasha's case, you can make an argument she's the biggest star in the company. I mean, obviously Roman Reigns is pushed as the biggest star in the company. If you want to tell me he's the biggest star in the company, I'm not going to die on that hill arguing against you. But you can make an argument for Sasha. You look at the data, she pops quarter hours bigger than Roman does. And it's just, for whatever reason, they don't push her at that level. And anyone who listens to this show knows that we've been talking about that for years. Like, why don't they push her at that level? And maybe there's this thing with Vince where there's some kind of, he doesn't like her attitude, or, he feels like there's always a threat of this kind of thing. I don't know what it is. That would be reckless speculation. But it sure seems like, to me, it's possible that Sasha felt like the rug was pulled out from under her again when it comes to these tag team titles and trying to make these things important. Because maybe she knows the lay of the land and she knows, okay, look, this motherfucker is never pushing me ahead of Charlotte, never pushing me ahead of Ronda Rousey, never pushing me ahead of Becky. So maybe I can carve out a niche here and make these tag team titles feel like the most important thing. Because I'm just going to be given fleeting chances at the other thing. Maybe she feels like Bianca has passed her by, and it's just, and now she's like, well, I can't even have this. This is the second time that they're not going to let me have this. And if that's the case, I could totally see some of the people in the locker room thinking that she's a, quote, fucking mark. Because you could totally see old school wrestlers thinking, oh, you really care that much about this dopey title belt? Cash your checks. You know what I mean? And I could totally see other people in the locker room being like, yeah, fuck that. The booking here does stink. You got the guts to stand up for yourself. So I think that's kind of a silly fight that everybody's having too. Oh, it's like, I'm sure there's people on both sides of the fence in that locker room. Why is it so hard to believe that there's people who are against what they did and think it's bad business? And why is it so hard to believe that there's probably people in that locker room who support her and are proud of what she did? I'm sure there's people on both sides of that argument and all points in between.
Yeah, so this is TBD as well, this story. Again, we're recording this on Thursday night. It's kind of still a work in progress. We have no clue if they're coming back. We have no clue what the contingency plan is. We have no clue what they're doing with the women's tag team titles at this time. We have no clue if one of them's coming back, the other isn't. Naomi's done, Sasha's done. Who knows what's going on with this story? But yeah, just a very... an interesting thing. And like I said, I wrote about it over at flagshippatreon.com. A lot of parallels to the Steve Austin walkout in 2002, which that one was more of he didn't show up to the building that night, and they had a freak out about it. And they had the Rock cut promos on him. They had Vince cut promos on him. They had Ric Flair cut promos on him. They did a whole episode of Confidential about him. They did, WWE.com statements, all that sort of stuff. Like, they went full on assault at Steve Austin all those years ago. And there really isn't another parallel until you get to this one of like it being so personal, like this one. I mean, this is just a completely different animal than a lot of other ones. And yeah, it's a little bit different because it's while the show's going on. But yeah, there's definitely, it's a big deal. I mean, this is the company calling out two of their, independent contractors and like really throwing them under the bus and then driving that bus over them as many times as humanly possible, and in turn also saying, and hey, they buried other people back here too. They buried you, really kind of, full on offensive, as I said, just like WWE getting ahead of it, not even letting Sasha and Naomi tell their part of the story whatsoever without getting out there and saying, hey, here's what happened, here's what that they did, and here's why they left. So I don't know. Yeah, we'll see what this ends up being, but it's a fascinating story for sure.
Yeah. I talked to someone who's, who knows one of the principals, and that night, and immediately they were like, oh, this is a booking thing. So it's the same consistent story that, that you're getting out of your Meltzers and your Saps. It's just that it's a book. It's been a ongoing issue, and it's a booking thing. So, like you're saying, it was like your anecdote with your job. I really, I don't think it was just the events of that night that triggered this.
Right, it rarely is. I mean, other than some, there are things obviously, and there are situations where one thing happens and you're like, this is done, we're over. But a lot of times it's building up over time, and something very mundane might be the straw that breaks the camel's back, where you eventually just go, you know what,
and that mundane thing in this case could be a tag team title defense at the pay-per-view,
right?
Which it seems like that's all that they wanted. Put us on the pay-per-view and let us defend these things. I gotta be honest. I forgot they held those titles. I have no idea either. So I forgot that these two people were the women's tag team
those titles existed too,
because they don't even. Yeah, they don't. It's not like it's as someone who watches WWE programming essentially with a gun to my head because it's part of what we do here, and I have to do it, and I fast forward most of it because I can't fucking stand it because it stinks. For someone like me, it's like they have not featured those titles enough for it to register with me. Like, if you would have asked me last week who the women's tag team champions are, I may not have been able to give you the correct answer on the first try. You know what I mean? I would have really had to have thought about it. And that maybe speaks to their point. Like, maybe they've been just lobbying to feature these fucking things and give us a chance, and it's just like,
right. And that's something that Sasha in the past has been very vocal about it. She thinks these titles should be a big deal. Like, she very clearly thinks that they're a big deal, thinks it's important, and the company obviously does not. So they're right. Right there you have a clear delineation of like Vince and WWE Creative. They don't really see their titles are fine, but they're props. They're just whatever. Sasha's never been that way. She's always treated them like a much, much bigger deal. And right there, that's one thing that can build up tension over time. And hell, it built up tension 2 years ago. So and that tension probably didn't go away overnight. Like,
it's the same thing happening over again,
right?
Because Sasha and Bayley thought they were gonna, take these new titles and make them something important. And remember, they put them on the Iconics. And
do I? Yes.
Yeah, and at the time we were like, all right, that's it. These titles don't mean anything. They're dead because they put them on the Bushwhackers. Like, no offense to the Iconics, but they were a comedy act. They were a prelim comedy act.
That lost all the time. They lost every single match they wrestled in.
Yep. People got mad at us, but they were a prelim comedy act who couldn't go in the ring. Entertaining outside of it, but couldn't go in the ring. And as soon as they put the titles on the Iconics, it was, all right, now they don't care about them. Remember how excited we were about these titles? Because Sasha and Bayley had all these plans. Oh, we're going to take it to all three brands, defend them everywhere. And we're like, wow, that's a cool idea. One set of tag team titles are going to go to every brand. They put them on the Iconics, and we're like, oh, these titles are dead.
And and now you can't remember who actually has them. So there you go.
Yeah, and the Iconics, like, they're out of wrestling now because they're not good. You know what I mean? Like, it's like that all played out how we thought it would. And it's like, that's when we knew. And that's just now the second time, and it's almost like, how many times are you going to touch the burning fucking frying pan? But that's a discussion for another day, so it might seem like an unimportant thing to an outside person or someone, but like you're saying, this could just be so much frustration that it's like, you know what, fuck this. They're using us to put over the singles champs now. We're Cade and Murdoch.
Yeah.
We're Cade and Murdoch now, losing a handicap match to Triple H. That's what we are. So, and, for people who don't know what the hell we're talking about, that's how they used to treat the men's tag team titles. They would lose handicap matches to fucking Triple H or John Cena.
Right, yeah.
The Cade and Murdoch era. Because Vince has never cared about tag teams.
No, he hates them. Yeah, doesn't care about them. Has them, takes the titles away, brings them back, splits them up, but largely, yeah, could not possibly care less about the tag team titles. So, yeah, there you go. Again, ongoing story. We're recording this on Thursday night, so stuff may come out about that, but it's weird. It's kind of died down as the week has gone on, which is strange. I thought it would be a story for a lot longer than it was, but that's the wrestling business these days. It doesn't seem like it, there's just a new wild, insane thing that happens every day. So these stories like this get buried pretty quickly. But there you go on that. All right, Joe, do you want to talk a little bit about Flagship, Patreon.com? I mentioned the summarily and unprofessionally, the parallels between Steve Austin's walkout in 2002 and the Sasha Banks and Naomi one. That is available right now over at FlagshipPatreon.com. The Thursday TV reviews, your review of this week's episode of AEW Dynamite, is there as well. A brand new episode of Slamboree Jamboree 1996 is up. 1997 should be up very soon as well. So that's my journey through the main events of WCW Slamboree. And you got some juicy little news updates as well. You want to talk a little bit about what you were able to do this week with the news updates. This time going to America a little bit more. Noah, you left Noah out of the sightlines for a week, and you went into the world of All Elite Wrestling.
Yeah, I had some updates on AEW, some new title belts they're going to be rolling out. I strongly hinted that the Joker was going to be Maki Ito. A lot of people picked up on that. I didn't spoil it, but I strongly hinted at it, and obviously that turned out to be the case because the story went up on Tuesday. And then we got in a little trouble with the office over there as I reported some behind the scenes strife going on at AEW, which we did get a response from the AEW office, and I did discuss the response on the Thursday TV reviews today. So there is a rebuttal from the office to that story that went out Tuesday that is on the Thursday TV reviews, and that's all on the $5 tier. You got the Slamboree Jamborees going on. And all the match of the week this week, which was Chris Candido versus AJ Styles from Impact, from TNA Wrestling in 2005, with a cool backstory to that one that people can check out. Won't give it away here. And so the usual shenanigans going on behind the paywall. And as we've been stressing every single week, get on the $10 tier now, because Double or Nothing is coming. And there will be a Double or Nothing live instant reaction on the 28th, right? Yeah.
28th or 29th. I think it's
weekend
29. The 29th.
29th. So it's on a Sunday. So we will have the live instant reaction, and you'll need to be on the $10 tier to listen to that show. Whether you listen to live or the replay, you're going to have to be on that $10 tier. So if you're on the $5 tier, upgrade. If you normally drop in for those and we have a lot of people who just subscribe for those live instant reactions. Just do it now. Don't wait till the 28th and get 3 days out of your subscription. Just do it now and get the full money's worth. If you're one of those people who subscribe for that and then immediately cancel, we don't care if you do that, but just get the full value. Get the most value out of it as you can. So we've been trying to warn people every week with the end of the month pay-per-view that it happens to be this cycle, that the best time is right this second to get on that $10 tier. So that is the Voice of the Wrestling Patreon.
There you go. Yep. Flagship, patreon.com. Patreon.com/Voices of Wrestling is all that. So, all right, let's move to the world of Japan here for a bit. We have New Japan's Best of the Super Juniors. I have seen all of the shows. You have seen all of the shows so far. I will admit I've only watched the tournament matches. I watched a few of the tag matches here and there, but I'm mostly skipping just to watch the tournament matches. Have you watched the full shows? We're four shows deep as of this recording as well here on the 19th. Have you watched everything, or have you just watched the tournament matches?
Every match, every show.
You've seen every match, every show. All right, anything stand out from the tag matches, or just kind of basic, tournament tag matches? Where,
that's the New Japan thing. Yeah, where they set up the next night.
Okay.
So but what I find interesting is the crew that they're using. It's all obviously the 20 people that are part of the tournament, But on the undercards, it's also all of the juniors who aren't in the tournament this year. Tiger Mask, Dick Togo, Gato, Jado, Taka Michinoku. So all the guys that normally would have been in this tournament in a pandemic year, but now that we have all the outsiders this year, some of those older guys aren't in the tournament, but they are on the tour. The only heavyweight on the tour is Tenzan. Tenzan mixing it up with juniors on this tour. And I guess maybe some of the young lions who might end up being heavyweights later. But, so Tenzan here teaming up with Wato on Wato's off nights.
Oh, I appreciate that. Because, he's usually a guy that in the past, I think, has taken this tournament off. Because, I mean, Jesus, it's Tenzan. He's nearly broken beyond repair. But, yeah, I don't know. Is he doing active recovery days here? Like, is he going out there working hard? Or what's... I mean, I guess he's probably not out there working hard. But is he doing something?
Nah, he's not even bumping. He's
so he's just getting free tours. He's sick of the wife and just wants to go around the country for a little bit.
Yeah, he's working like 8-man tags, and when Wato is on an off night, he works with Wato, and but yeah, it's just funny because he's the only heavyweight on the tour. But yeah, there's really nothing else of note. I mean, it's the New Japan pattern where you're booked against the guy that you're going to face the next night when it's your block's turn again. But the young lion stuff, I mean, it's a broken record. All those guys look like they have a chance to be something. It's Fujita, Kosei Fujita, Yuto Nakashima, and the third guy is Oiwa.
Mm-hmm.
Ryohei, wherever you say that. Those are the three guys on the tour. Because a lot of the other guys now, they're abroad. They're working, they got a couple guys in RevPro that we'll talk about later. They've got a couple guys in the LA dojo. Ren Narita still bouncing around. So this is the current crop of young lions. But yeah, there's that about sums up what the undercards have been.
Okay. So as far as the actual tournament itself, I think the best way to do this is we'll run down the blocks. I'll talk about some of the matches, talk about some of the performances for each of the guys, more so than kind of breaking down night by night or whatever. That could get kind of exhausting. So we'll start with the A block.
Give the current standings for the live listeners.
Yeah, we'll do that. Because, again, this is 4 nights into the tournament. This is on the 19th. I believe, forget when the next show is going to be, but a lot of this might be out of date in terms of the actual, point totals or whatever. But
no, we're up to date.
Are we? Okay. When is the next one? Well, I know we're up to date, but when's the next show? I don't know. I think there's one like tomorrow or something like that. So we might
So I'll give you the next show. Hold on. So we're 4 nights in. We're through the 19th. The next show is the 21st. So there's not another show.
So we got a little bit of, all right. So we'll be relevant for a bit. Sometimes we do these shows and then like 7 hours later they're running a show. But that's not bad. We got a few days. So
the live listeners and then anyone who listens over the next like 32 hours is going to get accurate standings.
There you go. All right. So the A block, there is a 4-way tie at the top. Ace Austin, 4 points. Hiromu Takahashi, 4 points. Alex Zane, 4 points. And Taiji Ishimori, 4 points. So we'll start with those guys right there. What have you thought of, and particularly Ace Austin and Alex Zane? Obviously, 2 outsiders coming in, 2 people from, Alex Zane, very, good indie tenure, signs to WWE, has so-so WWE tenure. He's on excursion, they called it. I think Chris Charlton called it a WWE excursion, but he's back now doing stuff on the indies, doing stuff with New Japan. He is there. He's got 4 points, and Ace Austin, obviously representative of Impact Wrestling. I think they even say from Impact as they announce him. But both those people at 4 points, 4 nights into the tournament, I think both have been pretty impressive as well. I've really enjoyed both. What Ace Austin and Alex Zane have both done. What have you thought of them?
The commentary, Kelly and Charlton were so funny during that Alex Zane match because Charlton with the little side swipe, like you said, claiming he was on excursion, little WWE excursion. And then Kelly going on and on about how Zane now had to get back in shape for real wrestling. He's got to get back into it. Was very similar to the Corey Graves ring rust comments that he made about Cody Rhodes. So that was funny. But, the A block, the first night, all the newcomers won. Ace Austin, Alex Zane, Francesca Akira, right? And it's funny because then the first night of the B block, the first matchup is with an outsider, El Lindemann, and he loses to Dookie. And it's just like, are we sending a message to Gleat here? Because all these other outsiders are winning their first match. And then it's not just the guy from Gleat, but it's their champion And he didn't just lose; he lost to the lowest ranked guy in the block.
I thought that was that was definitely something I was just like, all right, well, Lindeman's definitely. Oh no, Lindemann lost. Okay, it was very strange because, like you said, and some of those guys got wins over like pretty big opponents as well, like guys that you definitely thought it was definitely like eye opening. Like, oh, okay, like that's where they see these guys, or at least in the early part of the tournament, that's where they see these guys. But yeah, like, you know, Ace Austin getting a win over Yoshinobu Kanemaru is like pretty interesting to me, and like Sho, you know, Alex Zane beating Sho, that's, I mean, I was like, whoa.
Akira beat Sho, yeah. Alex Zane beat Sho on the, but you're right, Alex Zane beat Sho too.
Right, oh yeah, sorry, Akira, I mixed those two up, but yeah, both of those were kind of like, oh wow, okay, like that's a pretty.
So what they did is like that first night of the A block, what they were telling you is, okay, Ace Austin, Alex Zane, and Francesco Akira, they were telling their fans these guys are players because they gave all three of them wins, right? So, and like you said, then Zane won his next match too against Sho. So Zane, you know, won, and Ace Austin is 2-0 now, you know, and Akira, he lost in a main event to Hiromu. So there's like no shame in that, right? But then in the other block, Lindemann loses to Dookie. He didn't just lose, like he lost to Dookie, you know, which number one tells me something. Okay. Lindemann is in the big leagues now, first of all. So, you know, Gleat, you know, he's the champion.
I'm gonna make you watch Gleat this week. There's a match that you need to watch, but we'll get to that when we get to El Lindemann a little bit more.
I think what they should do here is take Lindemann, send him packing back to Gleat, and have Taka take his place, because it's very clear that even the Gleat world champion cannot hang with the bottom of the New Japan roster. I think that much is clear at this point.
It's established, well established.
Yeah. So, you know, I love El Lindemann, but he's not ready for the big leagues. And Gleat, very clearly at this point, is not the big leagues. So that's what I took away from that. But yeah, the newcomers, look, I think they've all looked good. What this tournament has been lacking after the first 4 nights is the one great match that, like, everyone can rally around and say, all right, everyone's got it. There hasn't been one of those yet. It's been, 20 total matches so far? It's been 20 really solid matches.
Yeah, that's probably the best way to describe it. Yeah, there's 1 or 2 matches that I could say like, whoa, I really like that, but nothing that's like, oh my god, go out of your way to watch this. If you are just kind of jumping in, but like again, everything I think has been pretty good. Like there's nothing I could say on the flip side of that. There's not a match that I've seen that I would say, yeah, you could definitely skip that one. There's some stuff that I haven't really loved. We'll get to, you know, a few matches here and there, but most things been solid as fuck. Like you said, everything's kind of landing in like a 3 to 4 star range, which is fine. But yeah, it's not maybe the most exciting tournament, but it's definitely pretty fun. I've enjoyed it. I felt like I haven't wasted any of my time, but I definitely haven't been like, whoa, oh my god, like that match is awesome. That, you know, there's been individual performances that I've really, really liked, but yeah, there hasn't been a single match that's really, to me, that anywhere near like a must watch or anything on that level. So
no, but there's been, you know, nothing's been lower than like 3 1/4. And nothing's been higher than like 3 3/4. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
And there's nothing wrong with that. You know, there hasn't been a single match I've watched. Well, I can't say that. Can I give you one guy who I have absolutely zero use for anymore in my life?
Does the name start with Y and then end with O?
No.
Damn it, because that's my guy.
Mine's Taguchi. I've had it with
Taguchi. He stinks. Yeah, he's done. We're done with it.
I have no use in my life at all for Rusuke Taguchi. He can just go away forever. I can't. It's like he's obviously had a very good career. You know, he can still step up and have a great match if he has to. We know that. You can't sleep on it from that perspective. But this gimmick where he's like pulling down his underwear and putting his ass in people's face, and you know, I can't. I'm just so over that guy. Yours is Ishimori?
Yo. Mine's Yo.
Oh, yours is Yo. Yeah, that's an interesting.
And I used to love Yo, man. He's fucking boring as hell. And I like that.
Very dull.
I like that the character is now that he's dull and boring, because they're like, all right, man, we're just gonna lean into it. You're dull and you're boring, and that's what your character is. But it's like, I don't love that character. It didn't work for Lance Storm. I don't think it's gonna work for Yo. Hey, this guy's really fucking boring. That's the story that they're kind of portraying here. And I'm gonna say I don't think it's gonna work. I don't love that story, because it is. The problem is when you do that, this guy is boring. It's usually supposed to be this guy is not boring, but when they're actually in fact boring, and you say they're boring, then they're just boring and kind of mundane and terrible. And yeah, that Yo Ishimori match, 12 minutes of my life that I don't think I'll ever get back. It wasn't brutal, but it wasn't good. It was definitely.
Yeah, I hear you. like I mean, I thought it was okay, but did it knock my socks off? No. I mean, I can't say that. I think Kanemaru has done really good work with Zayn and Austin. Well, Austin, who did he wrestle on night? It's, you get confused. Yeah, he wrestled Zayn, right? He wrestled Zayn and Austin.
Yeah, he wrestled both of them. I forget what night he did each, but
yeah. I think if we're sticking with A block for now, I think Zayn, Austin, and I guess Akira, he's got 2 points, right? So those 4 guys have 4 points, and Akira and Yo have 2. So with Akira, what I was really curious about coming in is if he would look like a fit for the New Japan roster, because the New Japan Juniors, especially with all these really talented outsiders, no disrespect to All Japan, it's just a different level of wrestler. So he's fit in. I haven't had any problem with his performances either match. I thought he had a good match against Hiromu. I thought he looked good on night 1, and he doesn't look out of place. He doesn't look timid. It looks like he feels like he belongs, and that's coming through in his performances. And from that standpoint, I think he looks like he's a fit. What do you think of Akira so far?
No, he's been really good, and he definitely has a different level of. There was that worry that he would how would he take confidence wise, because he's in this group where you have to kind of have a certain look and a certain approach to it. You know what I mean? Like, he can't be fiery babyface Akira. In All Japan, he was just happy to be here, Akira. Francesco, he's got to have a little edge to him. He's got to have a little bit of he's got to have that confidence. He's got to be oozing with charisma. That's kind of what that whole group is. And I think he's done it quite well. And I think the work, he's definitely acclimated himself very well to the work. Like, is he going to be the top junior in the company in terms of work-wise? No, I don't think so. But I think he definitely settles in near the top, or at least definitely towards the top of the middle, if that makes sense. Like, he's not one of the worst juniors. I don't think he's one of the best guys there, but I think he's definitely acclimated himself very well. I think he's going to be fine from the work department. The charisma and kind of look and feel in that department he's got. So yeah, I was a little worried as well. I was worried that he was just going to not really take to the character, but he absolutely has. So he might be another one of those guys that's like, good wrestlers can do everything. Great wrestlers can do everything. And we never knew that Akira could maybe be this good at kind of being an asshole or whatever. And he's pretty good. He's not like a full on total asshole, but he's got a little bit of edge to him. He's got a little bit of he's smug. He's a little bit of a prick or whatever, and I think he's doing it well. It's working for sure with him. So yeah, I'm very impressed by what I've seen so far with him.
He could evolve a bit with the character stuff, but
it's early. Yeah, it's super early.
His in ring, he fits right in. Rich, 23 years old.
Yeah, that's that. I can't believe he's still only 20. I feel like we've been watching him for 5 years, because we have, but I still can't believe that he's that.
He was
young.
a good discovery. He was a good discovery in All Japan, and and he ended up getting the right eyes on him after that. And he did that little pit stop in Rev, and Ospreay took a liking to him, and now here we go. And what have we been saying about United Empire? We said, okay, they need juniors, and then okay, TJP. Okay, well now TJP needs a tag team partner. Okay, and now here's this guy. So it worked out perfect. His debut when he came out with the lighter, that was a little goofy. And that's why I was like, let's see how he looks in the ring. But he's been in there with, Hiromu, and didn't look out of place at all. And he was in there with Sho, who's another top guy in that division, and he didn't look out of place at all. So from that standpoint, so far so good with Akira. So he's got the 2 points. Yo's got 2 points, and then it's Sho, who started off 0-2, putting over some of the new guys. He'll get in the mix by the end of this thing. Remember, he faces Yo on the final night, so you figure that match is going to mean something. Kanemaru, he's putting guys over. He'll probably have 4 or 6 points by the end of this thing, but he's having good, solid matches. And it's interesting that they put Ace Austin and Alex Zane with Kanemaru early, almost like, okay, we're going to put you in here with this veteran guy who's going to make sure you don't get ahead of yourself. He's gonna ground the match. He's gonna work it around a limb. You know what I mean? You almost feel like that's by design. You know what I mean? It's like he's going to make sure you guys have good, solid performances right out of the gate. And then Taguchi has no points, and then Connors probably won't win any matches. So those 4 guys are sitting at 0 right now. So any other thoughts on the A block?
I will say for the A block, I'm not fully, and this kind of extends. We'll talk about it a little bit with Capital Collision, Capital Collision. The crop of kind of New Japan strong young guys moving up the chart or whatever. The looks on some of these guys is a little rough. The Clark Connors.
Okay, well, what do you think about? You don't like Clark Connors?
It has the potential to be good, but right now it's kind of bad. Does that make sense? Like, I want to like it, and I think I eventually will like it, but right now it's kind of weird. I don't know. And am I a bad guy for thinking it's a little weird?
What about Coughlin?
The Coughlin thing, yeah, that's brutal.
The RoboCop thing.
The RoboCop thing is so brutal.
I'm gonna give it a chance because I haven't. You know what I mean? I want to watch it in practice, but it comes off kind of corny, like
not kind of corny, a lot of corny.
Yeah, Connors though, I don't know. I think I don't have a problem with his look. Let me ask you a question. Did you see? I know the answer. Did you watch AEW Dark this week?
I did not watch AEW Dark this week. No.
Okay, there was a 10-man New Japan Dojo versus QT Marshall and all his boys, and it got a lot of time because they're obviously doing that feud. And then there was a really, really good Wheeler Utah versus Josh Woods ROH Pure match. It really wouldn't be a waste of your time. It's an hour and a half, and both of those matches are second and third from the top.
Okay, sounds up my alley.
So they're easy to find. Just go to the last half hour. You can blow off the Swerve Strickland, Keith Lee versus Chaos Project main event, just a squash. But those two matches are definitely worth your time. Connors, I mean, he looks good there too. And that Kevin Knight looked good, and so I like that LA Dojo versus, and I guess we'll talk about that when we talk Capital Collision too. So maybe I'll save the rest of those thoughts. One more quick hitter on the A block, and we'll move on. I know we're giving oxygen to like a half a dozen dorks. I know that's what we're doing, and I apologize, but do we really have to make such a big deal out of Akira basically doing a modernized version of Honky Tonk Man, Shake, Rattle, and Roll? Is this really a move that's going to destroy pro wrestling?
I saw that and was like, God damn it. Like, what are we doing?
It's just a front face lock neck breaker. What's the big, what's so horrifying about this move? And I understand it's a half a dozen dorks. I get it. But what are we doing here? I think it looks pretty cool. I mean, he turns, it's basically, if you haven't seen it, he sets it up like the old Honky Tonk Man, Shake, Rattle, and Roll. But instead of a half rotation where the opponent lands on his back, he rotates the guy all the way around and smashes his face into the mat. I think it looks like it hurts. I could see having problems with moves that don't look like they hurt, because sometimes I have problems with moves that look like they don't hurt. My biggest problem is when there's moves and you can't tell who it's supposed to hurt.
Right, yeah, that's a classic. All right, who's
who's taking the damage?
Yeah, right.
But he basically does a Shake, Rattle, and Roll, but he turns the guy violently and quickly in a full rotation and smashes his face into the mat. I think it looks pretty nasty. I think the problem people have with it is Akira does it like a little flippy-do too. When he turns the guy over, he does like a twist. His momentum, but I think it looks cool.
Yeah, I couldn't believe when I saw that move, and I was like, cool little move. And then I could not believe when I saw, again, like you're saying, a very small, very, 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 very small outrage. But any outrage at all, I'm like, I don't know.
I think it should be his finish. I think it it's better than his finish. It's a cool looking move.
It looks like move. Yeah, it's impactful. It's something he can hit it pretty quickly too. He can kind of hit it sort of out of nowhere. You know what I mean? I don't think it'd be the worst idea to move that.
And I love Ospreay catching strays, and it's not even his move.
He probably taught him this. Yes, Ospreay's ruining Akira.
It's Ospreayism, Rich. Ospreayism.
Oh, people. Yeah.
It's not even okay. You want to pick on Will? This isn't even Will. And it's not a move that Will does. Why is he catching strays here?
It's a day that ends in Y, so that's...
The amount of hate for this man. This isn't even him this time. It's not like Akira is doing the fucking Stormbreaker. You know what I mean? It's his own move. I don't know. But anything else on the A block, or you want to do...
Not really. No, I think it's kind of surprising with Austin and Zayn. I'd imagine that those guys will probably, be in the middle of that. I don't think they're going to be leading the block when it's all over. But it does seem like New Japan is into... They seem to like Ace Austin. They seem to like Alex Zane, so yeah, it'll be interesting to see how the rest of that block plays out. But let's move to the B block here. top two guys atop the B block, El Phantasmo and El Desperado, both with 4 points. Phantasmo is just like, he's just the best, man. I love El Phantasmo. His shtick is there's a different level to it. He's so good at it. He's playing off the English announcers. Like especially if you watch the English announce team, it's so much better because he's giving shit to Kevin Kelly. He's giving shit. He's saying stuff in English. Like, he's definitely a wrestler for people watching New Japan World in English. You know what I mean? Like, he's definitely geared towards that demographic. And he just fucking rocks, dude. I love El Phantasmo so much.
Yeah, and what we always talk about when we don't talk about him for a while, he is like so physically talented, and you forget because he does so much shtick. You forget how physically talented he is. You know, he's one of the most athletic and physically talented juniors on the roster, and that's saying something. So, yeah, and Despy, look, you know, we all know they've elevated him, and they've done so successfully. So he's off to a decent start too. I'll get the rest of these totals, and then we'll talk about guys.
Yeah, let's do that. So then at 2 points, a big glut here. Dookie, Robbie Eagles, TJ Perkins, Wheeler Yuta, El Lindemann, and Bushi all at 2 points. And then rounding out, Master Wato, 0, and Teton also 0.
Yeah, so I mean, Wato, you know, is in the tag title mix, obviously, so he might pull a couple upsets. Teton, he's always there to fucking lose, you know. It'd be nice if, you know, one of these years, you know, Teton make a run, but he had a pretty good match on night 2 though with Despy in the main event. He's
had two. Honestly, Teton might be one of my favorite guys in the Best of the Super Juniors so far.
Good.
I thought his match with Lindemann was great, and I thought the match with El Desperado were among 2 of my favorites of the entire tournament. So yeah, he can go. He can absolutely go. And you're right. It'd be nice to, you know, do something with him, but it's what his role is. It's what he's brought in here to do. So I get it. It is what it is.
So the shtick aside with Lindemann, I think what it was is, look, everyone's going to have to suffer an upset here or there just for the points to work. And I think he just got his on night 1. I don't genuinely think they were sending a message with Dookie beating Lindemann. But it did shock me after the night before all the new guys won. So it was kind of jarring because they made it a point to have the others come out and look good and established. But maybe they figure, okay, our fans know Lindemann though, so it's not as important to get him off on a good foot. Whereas our fans don't know who Alex Zane or Ace Austin is unless they're watching, you know, New Japan Strong and our Impact uploads. You know what I mean? Which, you know, so maybe that was the thought process there. How do you think Wheeler Yuta's looked?
I think he's looked solid. Maybe not as good. I came in with pretty high expectations for Yuta, and I think the match with Robbie Eagles I liked a lot. I thought that was pretty solid. The match with Dookie was good, but it wasn't great. I don't know. I went in probably with too high of expectations for Wheeler Yuta. I think he's acclimated himself well. I think his best matches are probably still to come in this tournament. And he's going to have stuff with TJ Perkins, which I think should be pretty awesome. He's going to have stuff with Lindemann, which I think should be pretty awesome. The match with Teton should be pretty good. So it's a potential that he maybe hasn't had the best opponents, but I think, you know, he's had Robbie Eagles, and Robbie Eagles is one of the best guys in this entire block. And I thought that match was good, not great. I don't know. I don't know what I was expecting with Wheeler Yuta, but I maybe went in with a little too high of expectations based off what he can do. So
I think he's been pretty solid. It's interesting because night 1, obviously he worked a tag, and they put him out there with the 3 young lions, and then they faced like 4 veterans, and it was like, oh, geez, what a way to start the tour, right? So, but you know, he's a guy I think when he gets in there with certain people.
Him and TJP. I mean, that's gonna rock. Like, that match is definitely gonna be good.
Yeah, he'll have a chance to shine when he gets in there with some of the other guys. I think I've enjoyed the B block more than the A block. Which kind of is what we were expecting.
Oh, yeah, certainly.
I thought TJP Despy was a really good main event on night 4. I think TJP, look, his work is always slick as hell and solid as a rock. You know, so he's looked good in both of his matches. We talked about Phantasmo. Bushi's there. He just exists. Teton has looked really great. I think Yuta, the best is yet to come. And, you know, it's Wato. People are gonna struggle with him a little, and I thought Bushi Robbie Eagles was pretty good.
Yeah, I was gonna put over Bushi. I think he brought his working boots this tournament. He's the t-shirts off, the body. He's showing the body a little bit. I thought him and El Phantasmo was obviously. I mean, you know what you were gonna get with that match, but that Bushi Robbie Eagles match, he just went in there and worked, and I think that was really, really good. Robbie Eagles, honestly, so far has probably been my MVP He's been really, really good in everything I've seen, and he's Robbie Eagles. He's solid as fuck. But yeah, when he got in there and delivered with Bushi, I don't know. I don't know if it's more Robbie Eagles or more Bushi trying, but I don't know what happened. But that was a very match that way over delivered what I thought it was going to be.
Isn't it funny how, if it seems like yesterday that Robbie Eagles got integrated into New Japan and Ospreay, worked so hard to get him in and work with those great matches in Australia, and they do like the turn. Remember, the turn they did in Australia on the New Japan Australian tour, and then Eagles and then they put him over Jushin Liger his first night in Korakuen Hall. Mm-hmm. And that all feels like it was like yesterday, and it was like 3-4 years ago. And now he feels like a veteran of this junior roster.
Yeah, for sure.
Doesn't he?
Yeah.
Like a veteran mainstay of the juniors, where just it seems like yesterday, like he was the new guy, but now he's like the veteran rock of the block. The like the anchor of the block that like, when Wheeler Yuta gets in there with Robbie Eagle, it's a total different feel for him now. I was going to ask you something else, and I know I forgot when we were talking A Block. Ace Austin taking out the card and cutting the guy between his fingers, yay or nay?
I like it.
You like that spot?
I do like the spot, yeah.
That's going to be a sink or swim spot where I think like it's going to be one of those things where 3 or 4 matches in, it's going to be decision time. Do I dump this spot? Is it not working?
Mm-hmm.
Are people not picking up on it? Is it too much of a small room kind of act? Or do I plow forward with this? I don't know how I feel about it yet. I don't know if I think it's too goofy. And I don't know if I think it's like too small room.
I see what you mean, because I'm somebody who's seen Ace Austin on indies a bunch. He comes to AEW all the time, so I've seen this happen a bunch of times live, and it's cool. Like people react to it live, but you're absolutely right. Like I still like it because I've seen it in buildings with 200, 300, 400 people or whatever. Yeah, you're right. Maybe in like Korakuen Hall, it's just gonna be like, oh, what the fuck's going on here? Like, what are you doing, dude? So
not even like the bigger buildings, like at the end of the tour.
Oh
like,
yeah, he's gonna be doing it in Sumo Hall or something.
Like you're doing it in Sumo Hall in front of 5,000 people.
Yeah, that might be a little.
Or if it's post pandemic and it's like 9,000 people. Like, is that going to get over?
I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't know if like people are really over with his like gimmick. Like I don't know if they know what it is exactly, but it's hard to tell because it's just a bunch of clapping. So who the fuck knows? So.
And he's only had a couple matches, that kind of thing. You got to give people a little bit of rope, because it's just brand new to them.
Oh, they have no clue. Yeah, let's be honest. The majority of people at these, especially these small towns, are not poring over their Impact Wrestling tapes to
right.
to figure out everything they can find out about Ace Austin. Like they're probably just going to the show, so they don't know.
So the next A Block show, it's Show versus Clark Connors. So Show's going to get his first points, and he's probably going to run the table from this point forward, I would think, because he got the 2 losses. So, I mean, run the table until, it comes time to see whether he's going to advance or not.
Right. Get him up to that top of that block, but then, then who knows?
Yeah. So that'll start here. Taguchi versus Akira. Kanemaru versus Yo. Hiromu versus Ace Austin. Looking forward to that. And the main event is Taiji Ishimori versus Alex Zane. That's the next A Block show on the 21st. And then the next night, we got back-to-back, and then they take another day off. B Block is Robbie Eagles versus Dookie. TJP versus L. Lindemann. You got that one circled on your...
yeah, dude. Lindemann's my man right now, and I'll get to the Gleat match in a second here, but yeah, Lindemann's my guy, and I'm going to be excited about all of the matches that he's going to have, because so far, the Dookie match I liked a lot. The Teton match was fucking great, so now I'm just all the way in on Lindemann. So yeah, Lindemann versus TJ Perkins, Lindemann versus Robbie Eagles, Lindemann versus Wheeler Yuta, all coming up like very soon. So yeah, count me into any future L. Lindemann match for sure.
I'm sorry, did you say TJ Perkins?
Oh,
Sir,
I'm sorry, TJP.
It's the public enemy TJP. Okay,
I apologize.
Get it straight. Bushi versus Master Wato, so we'll burn that one off. El Phantasmo versus Teton. That could be a lot of fun. And the main event of that show, here you go. Okay, this is what you were talking about. Despy versus Wheeler Yuta in a main event.
So
you're going to get time.
Now we go.
This is where Wheeler Yuta establishes himself. And because, Despy's a fucking psychopath. He'll do anything he's asked. And this is Yuta's chance to really listen. This isn't an 8-man tag opener with the Young Lions. He's in the main event with the top guy in the block. So I think that's going to deliver. So there's 2 matches I'm really looking forward to there. Probably too early to start looking at points and stuff, other than that Show is going to make a big run. And, the B block is it's a big blob of a mess right now. So you really don't know how to – you just know that Doki is going to fade. Anything else is possible. Doki will fade. Wato, Teton, and Bushi will remain near the bottom. And then the rest, I don't know. You know what I mean? I don't know, because you figure Hiromu will be in the final. And then it's just a matter of who they want to get him in there with.
Right. It's I mean, especially in New Japan, their tournaments are pretty, you know what's going to happen. It's going to be a bunch of people with 12, you know what I mean? 1 or 2 guys with 14 or whatever, and then like 2 guys with 6, and then like 2 and 0 or whatever. It's always kind of that same sort of structure.
The B block will be fun because it's like we all, we can fool ourselves, but Hiromu's winning the A block. So the B block is fun because it really could be anyone.
Yeah.
So that's really, hopefully that one stays super close and congested. And I think Yo will spoil Show on that final night, right?
Oh yeah. I mean that's if that is the booking. You're looking at it now. That's the final.
Yeah,
match.
I'll double check for you, but I'm pretty sure.
I thought I saw the same thing as well. But yeah, just if that is the final match, then yeah, absolutely, that's happening.
Yeah. So on the 31st, it's just the 10 matches. Both blocks wrap up. And it is Yo versus Show, yeah.
Okay, yeah. Then I think somebody's spoiling somebody, but Yo spoiling Show probably makes more sense right now.
Yeah, and it's Hiromu versus Taiji Ishimori, and that'll decide the block.
We're doing that thing where we make tournaments not fun in Japan. Because
I know, I hate doing this.
You just go to the final night and look at the 2 matches and go, yep, there you go. So that's what it's going to be.
So earlier in the night, Yo beats Show, and then you would think Hiromu beats Ishimori because Ishimori is the champ.
Yes, I would assume that's the case, yeah.
Yeah, so Connor Zane, hand wave. Taguchi Kanemaru, hand wave. Ace Austin, Akira. That could be a match where maybe someone eliminates someone, but neither one of those guys are getting through. But I think they're both going to be booked solid. Especially Akira, because they're really behind United Empire.
Yeah.
So if there's a third match that's going to have any impact, it'll probably be that one. Ace Austin and the Good Italian Boy. And B block, I mean, like I said, look, Phantasmo Despy is probably going to be the one that matters most. But, and Dookie Wato, that'll be the opener. Because that's not going to mean anything.
It's not going to mean anything.
So,
no.
And then the rest, in the B block, they might do the deal where, like, with each match, somebody gets eliminated until you get to Phantasmo Despy for all the marbles. That has TJP Wheeler Yuta, which I'm looking forward to.
That might be a show, the match of the entire tournament with those dudes. Just going out there and just grappling with each other, just classic pro wrestling right there. I'm into that match for sure. That sounds awesome. But I've enjoyed everything I've watched so far. I'm gonna keep watching. I'm already 4 nights in, so yeah, might as well keep it up. It's not that hard to watch, especially if you're only watching the tournament matches. I mean, every match in this tournament's been like 9 to 17 minutes, and the 17 minutes are your main events or whatever. But otherwise, everything else is kind of in that 11 to 12 minute range or whatever. So yeah, it's an easy watch for sure.
My advice, if someone is listening and we're not able to give you a great match yet, there hasn't been a great match.
Yeah, Teton and Lindeman's probably the closest they've come, and even that I wouldn't call great.
Yeah, but my advice would be pick your favorites and watch everything they've done so far, and you're not going to be let down. Because everything's pretty good. Skip the guys you don't like. You know what I mean? If you don't like Show for some reason or something. And I get, if you don't like because there is a little bit of House of Torture stuff. It's not overwhelming, but it's there.
Yeah, so far it hasn't really dragged me down enough, but it's there. And it's going to be there for a while too, unfortunately.
Yeah. But if you're like me and you don't like Taguchi or whatever, just fucking skip that. You don't like Bushi, pick your guy. You don't like TJP, just if you pick the people you like, you're going to like everything so far. Would be how I would break this down. Now we're waiting for a great match. Are we going to get one on night 5? Hiromu Ace Austin, that's got a shot. The main event's Ishimori versus Zayn. I mean, maybe. It depends how hard Ishimori wants to work.
Always a question. Always a question. Usually the answer is not very hard, but yeah, you never know. Sometimes he surprises you. So.
And then night 6, I'll only go 2 nights here. Night 6, TJP Lindemann. Now look, it's early in the card, but that could be great.
They'll have a good ass 9-minute match or whatever. Yeah, that'll be fine.
And the main event, Despy and Wheeler Yuta. Will that be our first great match?
Oh, I think so. Yeah, I think so. I'm circling that one for sure.
Phantasmo Teton. Does that have a shot?
Phantasmo's a little too much of a character, I think, to maybe make that like a great match, but I don't know. It's possible that he gets, Teton's all business, so yeah, maybe he'll slap it out of him and get a real good match out of him. But no, I'd imagine that's probably fun, but not great, if that makes sense.
B block's the play, isn't it?
B block's great. Yeah, there's not much on the A block that I've enjoyed.
Starting with night 7, we just get double blocks. I don't know if you know that.
Oh, okay. I'm in down. Yeah, that's fine.
So, night 7 and night 8, I believe, are back-to-back Korakuens, and there's no tags. And then I think night 9 as well is Korakuen. And it's just, from that point forward, you're just getting double blocks. So, makes it harder to keep up with.
It does, but it's also kind of nice to just click play and just go. Because I
just sit and watch.
Because there was a time, I forget what night it was that I finished, and I was like, wait, what about this guy and this guy? And then I'm like, it was in between a bunch of these tags. Because a lot of times, some of I think it was either night 1 or night 2 or whatever. It was just the last half of the show was all the junior matches. It's like, oh, perfect, there you go, switch right. I know when intermission is. I know when they, I see the dopey guys talking, at the announce table, so I know, okay, this is the intermission, I can go, and then every match was after that. But then there was another night where I did that, and then it finished, and I was like, wait, what about this guy and this guy? And then I look, and it was the opener, it was in between 2 tag matches or whatever. So sometimes it's kind of nice just to hit play and just get everything, all in one night too. So it does make it a little tougher to keep up, but then you just have to say, hey, I'm sitting down for 3 hours or whatever, and I'm watching every single one of these matches. It's okay. It's I like both. I like the variety, actually, I think, because there's times where having a few days off is nice to kind of catch up, and there's some days where you just want to hit play and just everything's right there for you.
Okay, so there's 3 straight nights in Korakuen, then they go to Chiba, and then they come back to Tokyo for the Ota City Gym. So it's a big building. I'll give you the main events. I'll give you the Korakuen main events and the Ota. This is where business picks up.
Mm-hmm.
First Korakuen main event, Despy versus Lindemann. Sink your teeth into that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Korakuen Hall? Okay. Second Korakuen main event is Hiromu versus Yo. Do you like that?
We'll see.
How about TJP Robbie Eagles?
Now you're speaking my language. Yes.
Okay. Third Korakuen Hall main event. Phantasmo versus Eagles.
Yes.
A lot of history there.
Yes. Oh, yeah, a lot. Yeah, that's awesome.
With Hiromu Show underneath. And then we'll skip to that. We'll skip the Chiba. We'll go right to the Ota City Gym. I think that holds 3,000 fans or something like that. Main event of that one, Despy versus Robbie Eagles.
Yeah. Oh,
that do something for you at a big building.
Yeah, that's awesome.
All right. See, so that's where we're just getting revved up.
Right. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Remember last week we looked at it and we were all excited and the cards didn't look that good and we were like, and we're like, we're just getting revved up. When we hit that Korakuen stretch, they've got some big main events planned.
Now you're off to the races. Yeah. It's the classic thing. It's the classic thing we talk about all the time is that in any other era, we wouldn't watch all this stuff. We wouldn't see all this stuff. You know what I mean? We would only get the Korakuens. We would only get the Sumo Hall shows. We might get some of these other ones here and there, but now
Flips.
but now we're in a thing where we get everything, so we watch everything, and it's you don't have to. Yeah. I mean, the show on the 4th, I don't know what building it was in, but the hard cam was pointed towards bathrooms. Did you see that there was bathrooms? It's we don't really need to be watching this. I'm glad I did. There were some fun matches, but these are things that in any other era before the era that we're in right now, you just wouldn't watch it. It just wouldn't appear. It would never never see the night of day. It would never be on some comp tape or whatever. It just would never. It was fine. And then you would just say, oh yeah, on night 4, oh, that guy beat that guy, but I don't know. Yeah, that match is, nobody's ever seen that match or whatever. No, it didn't make tape or whatever. But we watch everything, so so a lot of times you get caught up, especially in these tournaments where you watch some of these shows and go, And I'm not saying this tournament because I think everything's been good in this tournament, but it happens during G1s too, where people are like, night 5 was terrible, and it's like, well, I mean, like it's night 5, and it's like some random town, like it's fine, like.
Rich, you don't remember all the classic matches you've seen in the Hachinohe City East Gym?
Right, was that where that night 4 was?
Yes.
The hard cam towards the bathrooms. I love it. I'm wondering, I'm like, what the hell is that room? And I look and I'm like, there's like 2 doors. What's going on? And then I see one guy like walk up, he stand up from his seat and then walk to and then I see him leaving and like, rinsing his hands. And I'm like, oh my God, the hard cams to the bathrooms. Okay, well, hey.
This Tenzan is some worker. He's like, all right, I'll get off my couch for half a tour, right? Like to earn that contract.
Yeah,
yeah.
Not
even a full tour. Like halfway through the tour, they send all these geeks home. It's incredible.
He's like, what's the tour? So I only have to work like 5 nights? Like, yeah. He's like,
yeah.
All right. I can do that.
5 nights, and he's like counting. He's like, let's see, maybe 2 bumps in 5 nights. Yeah. All right,
Sendai, Sendai's nice. I'll go to Sendai
with his dumb crooked ankle.
It's not a dumb angle. I mean, it's crooked. Is it a dumb angle? I don't know. That's not fair.
Stupid crooked ankle.
I don't think it's fair to call.
Puff putting out a cigarette on his heel right as his music hits.
Yeah,
right?
Hell yeah. That's G stuff, man. He's an absolute G. Yeah,
coming out with his dopey horns. To not bump, right?
Well,
and do his chops that he's not supposed to do anymore.
Yeah, what the hell? I bought into that story, hook, line, and sinker, and then the next night was just back to his chops again. Unbelievable.
Out there hissing. I don't know who he thinks he is. They need to pay that off. That when Okan gets back into town, he's got to call him out for that.
Say, well, hold on a minute, pal. I beat you for those hisses. I'd use the hisses. Right. You don't. All right. They need to have a rematch or something like that, or
get
Obari involved or whatever. Get the leadership involved here.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, if we're not going to honor stipulations, then what are we even doing? Did you want to talk this Lindemann Gleat match real quick?
Oh, I definitely want to talk about this Lindemann Gleat match. So this is on the most recent Gleat show, Joe, which is a real promotion that you need to acknowledge. Gleat, free on YouTube.
So is this like last week's segment where you're making all this up? And
No, this is a real match that happened on Gleat's YouTube. It was G Pro Wrestling version 25 that you can find on YouTube. So
just you can find it. I'm not going to.
Or actually, was it 25? I don't know if it's 25. Let me find the exact number here. I don't want to put you on the wrong path here, but yes, version 25, G Pro Wrestling version 25 is available for free on the Gleat YouTube channel, which has 18,000 subscribers, by the way, right now too. So there you go. But Erie E and L Lindemann went out there and fucking worked their ass. Just Joe, I watch this match. I don't want to spoil it for you. I don't want to say anything. You have to. You're not. There's no way that you're not going to like this match. It's 2 dudes that go out there and they beat the fuck out of each other. They kick the hell out of each other. There's shoot headbutts. There's 1 count kickouts. There's good selling. There's no selling. There's no way you're not going to like this match. Okay? Can I just tell you that? Just go watch it. Just go watch it. I'm telling you. There's no way you're not going to like it. There's 0 chance you're not going to come away liking it.
Well, I'll tell you what.
I'll know that you're doing a performance if you say that you don't like it. I'll know it.
I'll tell you what. I did, after the show last week, watch Burst. So I guess there's no excuses and I can watch Gleat.
How was Burst?
Burst was, I feel bad picking on it now because it's very clearly Kohei Sato just bringing some fun antics to like fairs with families, like street fairs and things like that.
Okay.
They're just like very light comedy matches.
No one's out there with a notebook, rating them and...
No, you'd feel like a real asshole if you did that. Because it's just like, that's why there's only 3 guys on each show. They do 2 singles matches and then everyone does a tag at the end, like the same people. It's just like at a street fair setting and they do like the spot where the baby face will drag the heel around ringside so that little kids can chop them. Like it's that kind of stuff.
Oh, okay, all right. So it's fine.
It's harmless fun.
It's harmless carnival wrestling fun. Yeah. So okay.
Yeah.
So we were assholes.
Families, people laughing. It's a lot of. It's fun. They actually do an intermission, even though there's only 3 matches. And
unnecessary.
No, but it's like lucha, like the little kids get in the ring and take bumps and stuff.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It's just so I feel bad for making fun of Burst and all of the time limit draws, but it's not ego that's in play here. It's just they're out there having antics.
Yeah, it's okay. So there's nobody that's not wanting to do the JOB. It's just they don't care enough to care about finishes.
Correct.
All right. Well,
so
there you go. That is
there's
Burst. When's the next
your
Burst show?
Burst review? Yeah.
When's the next Burst?
I don't know, but where else are people going to get a Burst review? Can I ask you that?
0. Yeah, there's not another podcast in the world that's going to give you a Burst review.
No. So, anyway, I have to watch this.
You got to watch the Gleat match. Yeah, and I think I'm becoming a Gleat guy. I'm sorry. They got the bulk orchestra. I love those guys. Lindemann's there. He fucking rocks. Shingo and Shima team together.
How'd they work that out? Yakuza money, right?
I don't know. Yeah, clearly, yes. I don't know. There's a backstage interview with them that I watched. I didn't understand what they were saying, but they
really
seem fine.
Yeah,
they seem fine.
No, okay. Bygones be bygones.
I don't know. Yeah, I didn't even check if there was closed captions on this. There are, but they're in Japanese, so okay. I don't know those either.
Well, that's pointless.
Yeah, that's not going to help me at all. So, they're sitting next together. It's not like they just got in the ring and did their work. Did business and then left. They seem
right.
Seem chummy. I don't know. They're not. I don't know if they're exchanging Christmas cards, but they seem fine. So,
well,
maybe it was all overblown. Maybe they're maybe they've always been good friends.
You go ahead and become a Gleat guy, and then when it folds, don't come crying to me. That's all I'm going to say.
Hiroki Goto was on the last show, Joe. Come on.
I understand that.
Come on. Bulk Orchestra, this Lindemann Erie, Hiroki Goto, who should just be Gleat full time. That would fucking rock if you just went to Gleat full time. That'd be cool. And then Shima and Shingo teaming together. And it's free on YouTube. It's free on YouTube.
All right.
You watched Burst, so you can.
I did. I watched Burst. I actually watched, even though 10 minutes in, I knew what it was going to be.
All right. You're like, I don't know. Maybe in the main event they get down to business. Koei Sato
at that point,
decides, all right, let's go, let's work. Yeah.
I'm a completionist. I was pot committed. I just watched the whole.
Yeah, there you go.
So
I am working on our Discord as well. voicewrestling.com/Discord. I am working on a channel. I asked for some people to send me every oddity, weird indie pro company. I'm gonna put them all together. I'm gonna get an RSS feed, so you'll be able to stay abreast of all the latest news and notes and major shows from all of your Bursts and your Gleats and your Osaka pros and all that sort of stuff. Because I'm sick of not knowing what's going on and insert these other weird.
We have a miscellaneous pro channel.
Yeah,
Discord, right?
Yeah.
So what are you doing?
Well, it might get overrun with videos from VKF or whatever. So I want to make its own. You know what I mean? I'm gonna make it its own channel just in case. I don't want how much of J Stage do people want in that channel. So I gotta.
Yeah. So when people are discussing heat up, you don't want to get interrupted with 19 videos from Burst coming through.
Exactly.
So it's
exactly.
It's a courtesy.
Right.
It's courtesy.
So you'll know that one channel will have all of your video feeds. So yeah, it's time for us to shine a light on these tremendous companies that are all definitely solid businesses and not on the brink of going out of business at all
money
times.
laundering.
So yeah, they're not all washing money. They're all definitely legitimate companies that are going to last for a very, very long time. So
I saw you created a Gleat channel.
Yes.
Okay. I only have one question. When Gleat inevitably fails, can I be the one to delete it?
Oh, absolutely. I will tell you how to do a screen share, and then I will show you how to delete it, and then you can do a screen share and delete it.
I know how to delete the rooms.
You know. Okay, so you know. All right. So,
yeah.
Do you know how to record your screen or no?
Well, because I almost deleted it already. As soon as I saw it, I'm like,
this must be an error.
Yeah, what the fuck we got a Gleat room for? So I was like, I can't stand for this. But all right, there's no Big Japan room. I noticed.
No,
but we got Gleat. All right, okay. All
well, when Gleat has to raise money for their bus, then we'll come through. You know what?
Well,
It's been an active channel, Joe. I'll give Gleat their roses right now. They just had a great match. Hiroki Goto was on their show. I'll give them their roses for a little bit here. But
yeah, it is an active channel. It's usually
Bulk Orchestra. It's a meme. It's a meme promotion, but let the people have their memes. There's a lot of people. This is their first meme promotion, like you said. So it's let them have this. They didn't live through Wrestle 1. They didn't live through the good old days in the 90s of who would be your meme promotion then? Osaka Pro probably, right? Would be like, who's the original 90? Like, what are your 90s meme promotions that you just knew weren't gonna really last at all? Like
maybe a lot of the death match, the garbage promotions that tried to be FMW.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of those.
Well, they're still going on. What's the word on that new one? Remember there was that FMWE that everyone was like, no, they're definitely this is gonna last for a long time. There's no way. Have they run a show in a while?
I don't.
They last ran a show December of 2021. So I guess Frontier Martial Arts Wrestling Explosion is done again. So.
Well, once Onita sucks whoever's running that dry, I mean, why would you run any more shows?
The next thing. So.
Yeah. So that's all that is. Funny, we had a new subscriber asking in one of the paywall rooms why I kept referring to the big seat on Thursday TV reviews, not understanding who that refers to, and they were wondering if I was talking about Sky Blue, which I found very funny.
The big C.
The big seat.
Oh, the big seat. Oh. Well,
so they were like, "Is that Sky Blue?" And I'm like, "Oh,
yeah, it could be. I mean,
can't argue. I can't be mad at you for making that connection."
No, that's yeah. There's a couple of big seats on AEW television.
A lot of big seats, yeah, but not that kind of seats.
No, like an actual literal seats.
It was explained who the big seat.
Gerard Wing. Wing's a good one. Like that's a good meme promotion from the '90s. Wing.
Yeah, Wing. With all the monster characters.
Yeah,
Leatherface.
Hustle was a good one too. That's like a legitimate Hustle was like a legitimate meme promotion too.
Well, Hustle was in on the joke at least.
Right. When I say meme promotion, I mean like this clearly washing money laundering thing that's losing. Yeah. That's probably not going to last like beyond 5 years, but like people get really invested in them, kind of ironically, and then so
Hustle, like characters would fart, and the result would be a new character,
right?
Like it would emanate from the fart, like they were in on the joke.
Razor Ramon Hardgay was a Hustle guy, right?
Absolutely, yeah,
classic character.
And Razor Ramon Real Gay, and General Takada as a general, whatever the fuck,
name,
and
whatever. Yeah, that was a literal meme promotion. I don't necessarily mean literal meme promotions, but that's pretty close. It's the right idea though, that you knew. I don't think Hustle's long for this world, but and it was not very long.
It did well for a little while, but you know me, I hated that shit. I had no use for Hustle. Fucking grumpy ass Joe Lanza wasn't watching Hustle.
Yeah, you want to watch Takada kill some guys. You want to take some heads off, not
watching fucking Hustle.
General.
Hustle.
You didn't get Hustle tapes. You didn't get Hustle tapes.
No, I can't watch that garbage. Absolutely not. So all right. So now you did not see the Capital Collision.
I did not. So do you want me to take you through the show?
I will take us through the show. Lead me through, Rich, and ask questions where appropriate.
Okay, sounds good. Dark match: Nick Camaroto versus Kevin Knight.
Nope.
Didn't watch it. Okay.
Nope.
Carl Fredericks defeats Ren Narita.
Yeah, tight little opener. Good stuff. I will say that here's what I don't understand. They had like 2,200 people in this building, packed house, right? Sold nearly every ticket. They've got their hard cam pointed to this ugly black stage setup, and you can't see any of the fans. The house lights are turned off, right? And it's like you can't tell that they have this full house, vibrant, packed, and it's not mic'd well, so you can't fucking hear the crowd going.
So they still haven't figured out their production in America yet. We still have no idea what we're doing here. Okay, great.
And they're drawing like they drew in LA.
They drew huge crowds.
They drew in, that other fucking show in
Chicago, the one that I was at. Yes, they drew. Yes.
Yeah, in Chicago, they drew the Battle in the Valley. They drew here. They're drawing 4-figure crowds. Okay, they're not filling MSG, and they're not putting 6,600 people in the Cow Palace, but they're drawing better crowds than they were like in the meat of the pandemic when they were putting 300 people into a building in fucking Memphis, Tennessee, or wherever the fuck. Okay, but you would never know it because they've got their cameras pointed at just this plain ass black stage with it's not even like a fancy stage. So what the fuck? Turn the hard cam around and point it at the fucking crowd that's going crazy. Turn the house lights up a little and make this feel like a vibrant product. I don't understand. Anyway, decent little match here between Carl Fredericks and Ren Narita. But QT Marshall and the gang attacked Fredericks in the post-match and gave him a beatdown. And then, like I said, a couple days later, at least in the, I know it was taped before, but if you're just following things on TV, they had the 10-man tag on Dark on Tuesday between these two groups. So, look, it's a nice little undercard feud that keeps all of these guys busy.
Team Filthy, Danny Limelight, Jarrell Nelson, Jarrett Kratos, Royce Isaacs, and Tom Lawler defeat Finley, Fred Rosser, Tangaloa, the DKC, and Yuya Uemura.
Yeah, this card was changed around a little bit because Trent got COVID. I thought that was a very funny tweet when he said he felt like he was screwing New Japan again. Because remember how he
right, yeah.
signed. They signed with AEW and they were going to push him. So it was a trickle effect. You know, Camarado got on the card in the Dark match, and that bumped the DKC to this match, and that bumped fucking whoever the fuck, and then that bumped Rocky Romero to the semi-main event. So everything got kind of bumped around. So DKC ended up here. Team Filthy is literally filthy. I mean, they are just a group of scummers. And I say that in a good way because that's the point. But led by Lawler and Fred Rosser. Is demanding a shot at that New Japan Strong title, and he's putting his New Japan contract up. And they had a match at the tapings. Did you see the spoiled result or no?
No, I did not.
I'm not going to give it away because I know people watch Strong, but Lawler and Rosser had a match, title versus contract.
Oh, okay.
So that's going to air. I don't know if it aired yet. Someone in the chat room will tell us. But good. High action, typical New Japan 10-man tag where everybody works hard, and Team Filthy is indeed very filthy. Those guys are really learning how to work as an act.
Oh yeah, like Jarrell, especially Nelson and Isaacs.
Yes.
Like those guys are just classic like shitbag heel tag team. Like they're just always cutting off the ring, coming in, doing little stuff, annoying the referee, annoying the crowd, annoying the wrestlers. Like it's great stuff. Yeah, they've nailed it. It's an old school act, but it's solid. Yeah, it's really, really good stuff. I love them.
And remember, Tangaloa replaced Chris Dickinson here. That was another replacement. But Dickinson worked the tapings the next night.
I saw that, yeah. Well.
So I know a lot of people were throwing roses at New Japan thinking they yanked them. But in the Discord, I was like, listen, be careful because Dickinson's been removing himself from bookings.
Right.
So I wasn't positive that this was a New Japan thing. And then he ended up working the taping the next night. So if you're the kind of person who's, getting wound up about that, he did work the tapings the next night.
Then we'll move on to Chase Owens and Great Okan. Oh, man, I love Okan. I especially love him in America. He gets over like crazy in America. Him versus Chase, though, I don't know. Tell me it was good.
Well, it's a pretty good match, and I know the result probably looks like a big upset, but remember, they're doing a tag team title program. So that kind of like, there's going to be that, was it a three-way? Or is it, what did they book? Let me look at Dominion. It's no, they're just challenging them straight up. They had the three-way and that's right. They lost. Okan and Cobb lost the titles in the three-way. At Dominion, it's just Okan and Cobb challenging Fale and Owens. So that's kind of the reasoning here for the Owens upset singles victory because they're going to have the tag title match, which I think Okan and Cobb are going to win at Dominion.
I'll move on here. Bad Dude Tito and the TMDK, Jonah, Mikey Nichols, and Shane Haste defeats the United Empire, Aaron Hanare, Jeff Cobb, Kyle Fletcher, and Mark Davis.
Couple things here. They built up to a Jonah, Jeff Cobb, like face-off.
Oh, yeah.
And the crowd ate it up.
Yeah, I want that.
The crowd went bonkers, and they milked it. Point number 2, Nichols and Haste, they just have special chemistry together. And the spots that they were doing with Fletcher and Davis, it's like, we have to see that match. That's like two different generations of Australian tag teams, and they're New Japan has to book that as a 2-versus-2 tag at some point. I don't care if it's in America on one of these shows. I don't care if it's in World Tag League later in the year, because
that's a gimme. That's a gimme match. You got to do something with that.
Yeah, and I mean, Nichols was completely lost without haste when he first came back to New Japan. Mad Mikey Nichols.
I was going to say Mad Mikey Nichols.
I mean, we were memeing that up.
How brutal was he? He was so brutal, though. We knew he was better. And there we go. We've seen it again.
And he looked good. I mean, him and Haste look good together. And they, they're back. And hopefully this... And Bad Dude Tito is now part of TMDK. They initiated him into the group after the match. So he's now in the mix.
Oh, there you go. So he's an official. Did he get a shirt, or how did they christen him as a...
No, they kind of just in the ring after the match, and then they sat on the apron and did a pose, and then, Riccaboni was going crazy putting it over.
Okay.
So he's part of the group. I also want to say Riccaboni is just tremendous. The two best in the business right now are Kevin Kelly and Riccaboni. They're the two best, and New Japan, kind of has both of them. And Kelly was already in Japan for Super Juniors, so Riccaboni did this with Kozlov. And Kozlov wasn't as awful as he usually is. He was tolerable. Riccaboni's great. He really is great. He gets everything. He does the job the way the job is supposed to be done. He just gets everything over. He knows the stories. He does his homework. He's a professional. He has the right kind of voice. He's perfect. Him and Kelly are the best. So, anyway, Bad Dude Tito is now part of TMDK, because that kind of looks like an upset on paper too, right? Like the result there.
Well, yeah, and that's kind of why I was surprised. But yeah, I guess with them clearly wanting to make TMDK even more of a thing, then you gotta establish them.
And you couldn't do an angle to put a guy in a group after they lost,
right? It's kind of dorky. Yeah, that's not gonna work.
So now business picks up.
Yes, Brody King and Minoru Suzuki.
Somewhere along the line, I don't remember where it was, but Leo Rush showed up and then joined commentary.
Oh.
It might have been a little later in the show, but somewhere in this area of the show, Leo Rush showed up. So
he's back again.
If you want to get excited, go ahead. I would say
I am not going to get excited. I am going to
keep it at arm's length.
Yes.
And, so we'll see. Look, if Leo Rush ever comes back to wrestling and stays, awesome. That's all I'll say about that.
Very talented wrestler. I enjoy watching him.
Incredibly talented wrestler. He's so good. But he claims he's back where he wants to be in New Japan, the rah-rah thing. And then he did commentary, which, very much babyface on commentary, saying how, shitting on Bullet Club and all that. So he's back, and he's back as a babyface. Brody King, Minoru Suzuki. Picture a really good Brody King Minoru Suzuki match. Brody King, they got something with this guy.
And they value the hell out of him too. So yeah, it'll be really, really interesting to see when things open up again fully, if they bring him over. But he's got a great look. He's got a unique look for that company as well. So yeah, I'm pretty fascinated to see. And they clearly, getting a win over Minoru Suzuki. That doesn't mean what it did a couple years ago, but it's still significant enough that it's worth noting that just a straight singles win over Minoru Suzuki is not nothing.
Yeah, and then Ishii Kingston, notebook material here, absolutely delivered. Again, close your eyes and picture these two having a match, and that's what you got.
Yeah.
So, really great stuff there. Highly recommend that one. Hikuleo and Jay White versus Okada and Romero. This is where it was supposed to be a Trent. So Jay White, he beats Rocky with the switchblade out of nowhere. It was Okada. I love Okada, the tag wrestler. I always have. He's a really good tag wrestler, and just such great star presence too. Like, you got the sense that people felt like they were watching a different level of star when Okada hit the ring. And then they did a little angle with Tangaloa and Hikuleo. Tangaloa telling him, look, man, your family, why are you still with the Bullet Club? So, so continuing the Bullet Club stuff there. But they didn't really take it any further. Because remember, Tangaloa wasn't even booked on the show originally. So, That was that. And then the main event, which was, predictably great, especially the closing stretch. I say closing stretch, but it was like the last 10 minutes were just phenomenal. Look at the people in the match.
Yeah, for people that know, U.S. heavyweight title 4-way match. It was Juice Robinson, Tanahashi, Moxley, and Ospreay. So, I mean, Jesus Christ. That's an embarrassment of riches there. And that's, they kind of changed that one around. It was initially supposed to be Tanahashi and Moxley. And then, obviously, the whole Juice Robinson thing kind of made it where they wanted to get him involved in it. But, I think they made I'm excited to watch this match. It's definitely one that I did not have enough time to carve out this week to watch it, but something I'm definitely going to watch over the next few days. Because I've heard nothing but good things about it, and you seem to agree.
Yeah, and it wasn't even long. Like, they just went in there and, it's a 4-way, so they do pair off, and guys just inexplicably disappear. But then when they hit that closing stretch, it's just fucking bonkers, because these guys are all just such great professionals, and they're all where they belong, and near falls are all believable. And Moxley and Will Ospreay just we've talked about this, their chemistry is something special. I mean, you just know when two guys have incredible chemistry, those two have it. And I really, really hope that they have a series of matches over the rest of this year after what I've seen them do together. And they did another Ospreay finish where he had his leg underneath the rope when he was pinned. So he went back on Twitter and complained about that, as he was the one who took the fall. So they got to straighten out. Look, whatever plans they had for this title got screwed up with the COVID and everything, but maybe the end result was always Juice. I don't know. But he is completely refreshed. We were talking about wanting this guy to just hit the bricks, and now he's completely refreshed and feels fresh.
Yeah,
and
a month ago we said, you know what? If he's going to hit the bricks, good for him. We don't really care anymore.
Yeah.
So
maybe Impact will take him, and it's like now, it's like kind of exciting, the new direction he's in. So yeah, really great match. Another easy notebook match. I would say that and Ishii Kingston would easily be notebook material. And the whole show was pretty good. I mean, every match was pretty good, but if time's an issue, just at least hit up those last 4 for sure. Quality show.
They keep running. Yeah, if they can get the production in check and actually make it so you could hear the crowds and see the crowds and be able to watch were there any reports of like issues on Fight, or did they actually get that figured out this time where the stream actually worked? Yeah, I didn't watch. I didn't hear.
I didn't watch it today.
Okay.
I didn't watch it today, so I don't know if live. I don't know what was. I was not watch. I wasn't watching that night. So, I don't know. The production on the replay at least was fine, but aside from you would never know that there was anybody there with the sound and the dark lights and the camera pointed at stairs.
Yeah, they really got to get that figured out, but
it didn't look big time. And in the building, it probably felt big time, but
I mean, the show that I went to in Chicago, when I finally was able to get out of the building, and I go on to our Discord, I go on, and people are like, oh, the production was terrible, the crowd was awful, and I was thinking, my God, in the building it was like, it felt like a real hot company. It felt the crowd was insane the whole time. It all felt like a real professional operation. Then seeing what other people saw, and then going back and watching some of that stuff, I'm like, oh my God, they butchered the hell out of this building. Like this building, it's not a super nice building, but still, they could do a little bit more in the production wise. And what's weird is like the entrance ramp is pretty solid. Like the entranceway looks pretty good. They set up a pretty good screen and all that sort of stuff. But throw a little bit of lights on the crowd or get the crowd a little bit. I mean, just little stuff here or there. Hell, make the show so people can watch it. Like, come on, it's just little things that they got to do here to just get above that hump and not just be, it's New Japan Pro Wrestling. It should look better than your run of the mill indie. I mean, I don't think it's that realistic or that hard of a thing to ask for. It seems pretty realistic to do. So
yeah, but I don't know. So that's a real drawback right now. But so anyway, that was the show, and then they had the taping the next day. But I've got some results from that, but I don't want to spoil anybody. I'm sure we have some people who watch Strong, so there you go.
All right, let's get to the world of British wrestling. Always a great scene with a lot of good stuff going on there. Brit Rest, but one company is solid as fuck, and we will always follow them, at least for the time being, because they've been really, really good through the pandemic. They've been good in the years all through 2020 they were solid. 2021 they stayed good. In 2022 I've still enjoyed a lot, and this show in particular, coming up this weekend, Epic Encounters 2022 from RevPro, looks solid as hell. What day is this one on? This is on the 22nd. 22nd. Okay. So is it streaming live, or because Fight sometimes covers these? No, is this just going to be a
yeah?
Okay, so this is just going to be on RevPro on demand or whatever.
So we'll be lucky to see it by the 28th or 29th. Probably.
They tend to be a little slow with getting those out, so hopefully they get them out pretty quick, because I'll be itching to get watching the show. But yeah, it's usually like, or it comes out like, the best thing they do is like it'll come out like the day of the flagship. It's not their fault, like, exactly, but it'd be nice to have the shows get up a little bit earlier. But
well, I mean, Rev was the survivor, man, of this scene. They this is going to be sold out or close to sold out. They put
from York Hall, by the way, which is always a great
York
venue.
Hall.
Great venue for
they
wrestling.
Put 1,000 people in York Hall last time for whatever they call their other big, what was it, high stakes, maybe, whatever their last big show was. And what they did was, when the shit hit the fan with speaking out and COVID and everything, they didn't pander. They didn't go over the top and pander and do like these bullshit codes of conduct that everybody knew were just horse shit. And they didn't, they just stopped. They obviously stopped booking the shittiest people. And during the pandemic, they ran those no fans shows in that little venue and at the hotel, and they had everybody tested for COVID, and they made it a closed set. And a lot of people were, in the heart of the pandemic, were mad that they were running those shows, but they just didn't listen to the noise. They didn't pay attention. They just did their thing. They filmed their shows. They told people that they were safe. They were like, you either trust us or you don't. If you don't, it's whatever. We're just going to do what we do. And by all accounts, they had everybody tested, and it was a closed set.
I was going to say, I don't think I heard of anything really going wrong with those at all. Nobody, to the best of my knowledge, got hurt. Nobody, to the best of my knowledge, they test everybody on the way in.
There was no COVID outbreak.
Told everybody to stay in the hotel, eat in the hotel. Let's run a week's worth of shows. We'll tape a week's worth of shows, and then you guys can leave and go do whatever you want afterwards. So,
yeah. So they just did their thing, and those shows, and we covered every
single one, every match, every one. We were desperate for content at that time. So thank you.
Those shows were so important because they built and established all of their new stars, Ricky Knight Jr. and Callum Newman, and at the time Giselle Shaw, and who they obviously have now lost, a little bit lower on the card, people like Luke Jacobs, but they introduced all these new faces, and some of these people are working at the top of their cards now, and that was very smart. And they just kept their heads down, and they, of course, they were getting a lot of noise because people, the fans are obviously irate in that scene for a lot of different reasons, justifiable, but they just did their thing, and they have come out of this thing. You look at the state that Progress is in. You look at the state that OTT is in. You look at the state of all these, these just promotions that have died. They are the last. They were the survivor, and they're the last one standing. And they're not just standing; they're thriving.
Mm-hmm.
They did it. They made it. And I thought it was a combination of being pragmatic and doing all of the right things to the best of their abilities, and taking criticism without being defensive about it, and just, thank you for your feedback, but we're doing what we're doing, and building new stars. And they should be commended because it's the only thing keeping that region alive at this point. It's the only thing going on that anybody gives a shit about, or is willing to buy a ticket for, or feels like it matters. And they did it. And, we had a feeling at the time that they were doing all the right things when we were covering those shows. And they were. So good for RevPro. And now we have this Epic Encounter show that feels like a vintage RevPro show with all of the imports. You got Minoru Suzuki coming in for this. You got Kylie Ray coming in for a one-off to challenge for the tag team. I assume a one-off. I assume she's going to lose, but who knows? You got the Velocities coming in to wrestle Aussie Open, and we know they're going to have a disgustingly great match. So, and they're going to have a packed house and sell all of their tickets. So good for them. Can't wait for this. And I thought Rob Reed made a great point. I was chatting with him earlier this week in about this stuff, and one thing that may have helped them is they were one of the few promotions in Europe that they didn't have kind of that same parasocial relationship with their fans, like everybody's buddies, and maybe fans just don't feel as sort of burned by RevPro as they felt, by Progress, or when OTT comes back and they book the people that nobody wants on the shows, or they feel like Progress really burned them by all the shit that was going on in that company.
That is a really good point, because even if you watch classic RevPro, it was basically just like they just ran shows. You know what I mean? They didn't have a guy get in the ring and say, "We are all a community. We are all one." Yeah. And that's, you got that with all those other things. It was like everybody in the building knew each other. Everybody in the building was friends with each other. Everybody in the building hung out after the show and before the show or whatever. And the leaders of the company would come out and say, "We're all one, and it's this is we're all doing this together. We're a team." And RevPro was just like, "Here's our show." It was in some ways kind of cold to the rest of the scene. But yeah, that's a very good point, that people don't feel as burned by them. That's a very, very solid point.
Yeah, and it was just pro wrestling for pro wrestling fans, and they didn't attempt to have these sort of, and maybe that worked against them in real time because people didn't have that sort of feel that
they felt kind of
connection.
Yeah, they felt kind of cold at the time. Like, there's they don't have that attachment.
Yeah. No, right. Attachment or personal connection. But now it kind of works in their favor, because it's like, no, we're just a pro wrestling company. And, we went through all this shit like all you did, but we're not booking fucking Josh Bodum anymore. And here we are, and we're still just a pro wrestling company. So you take us or leave us. And people are taking it because they've done a nice job. So it's a flicker of hope in a region that's just continues to crumble all around them, So this is going to be a big time show. And the people, the ticket buying public has responded, and appropriately to this, and we'll see. So we got Robbie X versus Luke Jacobs. Luke Jacobs, we've talked about it a million times. It's just he's got to find his charisma. He can go. He's just a guy who needs to find his charisma, and he's a young guy. Let's see what Cage Match has an age on him. It doesn't. I would guess he's no older than like 22 or 23.
Oh, he's got to be. Yeah, he's 23, under 23 for sure, right? I mean, he's a baby.
Just got to find some charisma. That's all. Robbie X, he's a solid prelim guy in the company, and that's what he is. Ricky Knight Jr. versus Jeff Cobb. So again, they're bringing in a Jeff Cobb for this. Yeah, and it's, and Ricky Knight Jr. kind of out of the main event scene, at least for this show, but he'll be back in it soon enough.
22. Luke Jacobs is 22. He was born in the year 2000. Yeah. Disgusting as that is.
Yeah. The Cruiserweight title, Oku versus Connor Mills. So those two guys, obviously tag team partners and all that. So then the women's title, we talked about that. Alex Windsor against Kylie Ray. Every time RevPro attempted to push a new women's champion, they'd get signed by WWE. So they're kind of, but Windsor's kind of been stable for a while now, and I assume she's going to win that match. Aussie Open versus Velocities, and I'm sure Velocities is a big time match for them, so they're going to want to go out there and really kill it.
Yeah, that has, what's the floor on that match? Like 4.5, right?
I mean, I've seen these two teams have match of the year caliber match, legitimate match of the year caliber. So
there's not a whole lot of matches on the show, so it feels like they're going to give those dudes a lot of time to go out there and kill it, and they can do that. So yeah, I'm excited to see that.
And then Will Ospreay defends the title against Minoru Suzuki. So ain't nothing wrong with that.
No, crowd's going to be way into that. It might, that match again, like to kind of get your expectations in line. There's probably going to be a lot of shtick in that match. I doubt it's going to be, an incredible back and forth type of match or something like that. But I don't know. I think the crowd's going to be molten hot for it. Ospreay is going to be working a really good character. I don't think they're expecting that match to be, they're expecting Aussie Open and Velocities to be like the match of the night. But Ospreay and Suzuki should be molten hot. And Ospreay, some of Ospreay's best work over the last few years has been in RevPro. So I'm excited to see that for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if we're going to get the typical Suzuki indie match where he plays the hits, or because it's a main event and it's a place that he's worked a lot and it's a title match. If we're going to get I don't know. Cause you could be, You could be right.
It's hard to say. Yeah, it's hard to say with him. You don't know. I mean, there's sometimes where, like, the Ishii Suzuki match from the New Japan show in Chicago, like, he just went out there and he just beat the shit out of Ishii. It was just like a Suzuki match from Classic New Japan. It was just a real match. Yeah, I don't know, because Ospreay can kind of get shtick heavy these days as well, and it does it in the right ways, but I could see this going, it could go a few different ways, and I'm not quite sure which way it's going to go. So
I think they're going to have a classic world title match.
Which would rock. If they do that, it's going to rock.
I think that's
in front of an insanely hot crowd. So that's, it looks like a hell of a show. So yeah, we will definitely be watching that. I know Eurograps Express. I don't think I've mentioned it on the flagship before, but we have a new British wrestling podcast hosted by Neil David that is up there at the Voice Wrestling Podcast Network. Eurographs Express. Neil's done a great job with that so far. I've gotten some good reviews. It's obviously a very interesting system to interesting region to kind of cover. So it was like a thing where I was like, if you want to, man, like this, and I think Neil's done a very, very good job with it. But yeah, it is still it's you got to be very careful in that region, but I think Neil's done a great job of doing so far. There is still a lot of hurt feelings from all that happened, but it's slowly rebuilding, and he focuses on RevPro a lot because, like you said, and like what you started off the show, without RevPro, this scene is just a smoldering mass of nothing. You know what I mean? Like, they have really kind of seen it through and are just kind of really the last real bastions of this entire wrestling scene, which just got destroyed, and a nuke got dropped on it, and just an absolute horrible wrestling scene for a lot of reasons. But I
think there's a lot to that theory that people feel like, okay, they never fucking bullshitted us.
Right.
They just gave us pro wrestling.
They said they were a pro wrestling company, and they gave us pro wrestling. They stopped booking all the shitty guys. What more do we want out of these guys? You know what I mean? They didn't promise us anything that they didn't deliver, and they're not booking shitty people anymore. So it is what it is, So yeah. And they didn't try to blow smoke up my ass by
right.
Oh, we have a new code of conduct, and here's our new leader, and then everybody goes, wait, that new leader did this, and they're like, whoa, not that guy. No, this guy's our new leader. Like, how many times did Progress do that over a year span? All right, sorry. Here's our code of conduct. Wait, what about this in your code of conduct? Oh, wait, we'll update the code of conduct. Sorry, 1 second. It was just like, oh, what are you guys doing? Like,
code of conduct. Rich, I was shitting on those things when it wasn't fucking okay to shit, because it's just such pandering nonsense. What does that mean? A piece of fucking paper? Is it even a piece of paper, or is it just some words on the fucking internet?
I think it's a word on the internet. Yeah, I think it was a multiple tweet thread is all it was. So
God, it means nothing, and people were kind of falling for that nonsense. It's like, dude, who cares?
Yeah.
Just code of conduct.
And then on the other side, OTT is just like quietly trying to sneak like some of these guys onto their shows.
Hey, I gotta tell you, I have no problem with the way they're just booking these people and putting it in the hands of the consumer, and the consumers are speaking.
Yeah.
How can you even complain about that? You know what I mean? Like, have they snuck anybody onto a show, or are they just?
I guess they've kind of told you that these are the people that are going to be on the show, and the buying audience, by and large, has said, we're not that interested in that, but thanks anyway. So,
and you know what? That's how it should fucking work.
Yeah.
You know what? You want to put these guys on the show that your ticket buying public are telling you we don't want them on the show. You put them on the show, go right ahead. But then when you draw 80 people, that's what you get. So, I mean, unless they've been sneaking people on shows, and I don't know.
Yeah, I shouldn't. I use that term. I should not have. I don't know if they actually snuck people on.
I don't know for sure. Yeah, I don't know the answer to that question. That's a different animal. You can't be backdooring people onto the shows without advertising them. That you can't do. In fact, if I'm running a promotion anywhere in fucking the continent of Europe, I don't do any surprise. I don't care who it is. I don't care if it's fucking who's the squeakiest clean. I would not run any surprises.
Yeah.
I would. This is what you're getting. Full disclosure. You have to at this point. But anyway, we'll see when that show eventually gets uploaded, and we'll be able to watch it and review it.
Yeah, we'll absolutely be reviewing it right away. Eurographs Express, I'm sure we'll be covering it as well. David there. So, that is RevPro Epic Encounters. Since we're in the Europe, United Kingdom, let's talk about Wrestling Entertainment Series. This is not a Mad Lib. Everything I'm about to type and everything I'm about to read is real, okay? Are you ready, Joe?
Yeah, I'm ready.
The former Authors of Pain, now going by the name of the Legion of Pain, are starting a new wrestling company called Wrestling Entertainment Series, and it'll take place June 4th, their debut show, from the Motor Point Arena in Nottingham, England. Now, Joe, were you confused wondering why Akam and Razor, the former Authors of Pain, are running a show in England and running the wrestling company in England, or did that make sense to you?
Makes no sense whatsoever.
Good, because it doesn't make any sense to me. I try to look, I'm like, oh, well, Akam is from Canada. Razor he was born in either Russia or Amsterdam. I'm not quite sure. He grew up in the Netherlands. He's been all over. Either way, I have no earthly idea why this is happening in the UK. I no idea. If somebody has an idea, feel free to let me know. I have absolutely no clue why Wrestling Entertainment Series is being based in England, and then all of the talent is like all American-based talent. So I have no fucking idea why this thing is happening June 4th from the Motor Point Arena in Nottingham, England, and apparently will also be on pay-per-view, but we don't know what pay-per-view or how or anything like that. So
bizarre.
Ready for the card?
I'm ready for the card.
All right, so we have the free live pre-show. Thank God, the free live pre-show. Mike Bennett versus Biff Busick and Dirty Dango, formerly known as Fandango, versus formerly known as No Way Jose Levis Valenzuela Jr. I don't know how to pronounce his.
Man, I thought that guy was going to take off on the indies. That didn't happen.
Remember, we were really wrong about that. Yeah, we told you when they released him, we're like, keep an eye on No Way Jose, baby. He's got the size, he's got the look, and I think like when he got released, he had like, I'm going to prove them wrong tweets, and like that's usually the best way. And then he fucking never worked anywhere. Like, did he go anywhere?
He filmed some vignette. And that didn't go.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. We were like, "Oh, baby, let's go." And yeah, did he work anywhere? I don't really remember.
One Impact show as a surprise.
Yeah.
And I don't think he's done much of anything.
I don't remember anything either. Yeah. Well, there you go. Get excited. So that is the free pre-show, and now on the main show, it's a doozy. We have formerly known as Mojo Rawley versus Lindsay Dorado.
All of what is it? Are they still calling themselves Razor and Akam?
I do not know what the Legion of Pain are calling themselves these days, but yeah, the FKA Akam and FKA Razor.
All of their pals from NXT is basically.
Yeah, this is NXT AAA. This is Poppy NXT.
Yeah,
coming back to life here. But Madison Rayne and Tennille Dashwood versus Deonna Purrazzo and Chelsea Green.
Mm-hmm.
Killer Cross versus Samurai Del Sol, FKA Kalisto. It's like, people know about Samurai Del Sol too, but that's all right. Like, nobody knows like Dean Muhadi or whatever, you know what I mean? But like, you have to say formerly known as Mojo Rawley. You can just say Samurai Del Sol. Like, most wrestling fans know who that is, but you know, they're clearly going to a certain demographic, so I get it.
Well, Rich, what about the casual fan?
Yes, the casual fan who goes, Samurai Del Sol, who is that? Versus Jonah, FKA Bronson Reed.
Okay, so this show is insanely expensive, number one.
Yes. Who is washing money for this? Like, what's going on here?
I was told Kalisto's price. Now, Rich, think in your head, but don't say it out loud. An expensive price for Kalisto, and tell me when you have it in your head. Like, what would be an expensive price?
Expensive price for him to work like an indie shot, like an American indie shot.
One indie shot.
Okay, yeah.
Have it in your head?
Yeah.
The real number is twice as high. I don't even need to know what it is. The real number in your head is twice as high.
Well, I will tell you this. So he got released. His last WWE match was on November of April of 2021. A Friday Night SmackDown, WrestleMania SmackDown. Remember WrestleMania SmackDown?
I do.
Okay, and then November of 2021. That's a pretty big gap there, but you know what? Took some time off, healed up his body. Does an episode of AEW Dynamite. December 2021 does a Triple Mania show, one of the many Triple Mania shows.
Yep.
Then takes 4 months off. Does a show in St. Louis.
Yep.
Then takes a little time off. In May, he wrestles at BIP or B exclamation point P. I have no idea what it is. And then in May, he wrestles for The Crash. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 shows since his last WWE appearance, April of 2021. So
one was AEW and one was AAA.
Right.
I mean,
so that tells you what his price.
It's insane. The price. I'm gonna text it to you. I'm gonna text you.
Right, let's see. I'm gonna see how close I was to it. Yeah, let's see. I got my phone right now. So.
Guarantee you, it's double.
Because I had a price. In mind.
All right, here we go. There you go.
Take your time.
Oh, you got it. I sent it. You're just waiting on it.
That's exactly double what I had.
Exactly double?
It's exactly double to what I thought. And the one I thought was like ludicrous. Like that's the one that like you call them and you're like, dude, we can't do that. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I told you think of a high price.
Right. The one that I thought of, they were like somebody might, like a real money mark might be like, you know what? Yeah, well, you know, we're pretty low. Like this looks like a decent show. Yeah, we'll do that. But like, yeah, your run of the mill like established American indie is gonna hear that price and go, dude, we can't. You know, we can't do that. Mm-hmm. But then he's double that. He's double that price.
Double. I told you it'd be that. It's incredible.
It's exactly double to what I thought my price was. Wow.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
I mean, could you? Now you know why he never gets booked.
Right. Yeah. Well, good. That's a guy. I'm glad he got 5 of those bookings. That's not bad. So, all right.
I mean, you know what the thing? There's no way AEW gave him that money. That total.
Oh no.
I guarantee he took a discount to get back on TV and a chance at a contract.
Right.
That's why I say like the AAA and the AEW, like that shouldn't count.
Right. The random St. Louis show, the B exclamation point P. That those
unless
dudes paid that. Yeah.
Unless he knows those guys and gave him the brother discount. So I don't know, but that's the man's price.
The Legion of Pain, FKA, the Authors of Pain, versus Weston Blake and Steve Macklin, FKA, the Forgotten Sons. So in case you forgot the Forgotten Sons, they let you know that Weston Blake and Steve Macklin were the Forgotten Sons.
Not the one ranting, raving, and spelling things wrong. And,
not that
MAGA,
son,
not that one.
Yeah, that Forgotten Son has been very forgotten by everybody. So.
Not the MAGA guy. All right,
no,
got it.
No. What was that one's name? Jackson Riker.
Gunner.
Riker. Yeah, Gunner. Yeah. Oh, right, yeah, Gunner. Yeah.
Both Gunners now canceled. Didn't the other Gunner get canceled too? I think both Gunners are canceled.
Sure. Go with that.
Different things. Yeah.
Boy, a match that is actually being booked and being presented to you, a potential paying customer. CJ Perry, FKA Lana, versus the former Nia Jax. Lena Finay. How do you pronounce her name? I don't.
I got this because I studied up. It's FKA Nia Jax.
Thank you so much. In the prestigious WES Women's World Championship match will be on the line there in Lana versus Nia Jax.
How bad is that match going to be?
Oh, God. Especially when they're not regularly working. Like CJ isn't out there, working indies. Nia sure as shit isn't doing anything. So yeah, these are going to be two people that haven't worked in. I mean, Lana. When's the last time Lana worked? Like 2 years ago, 3 years ago at this point?
Lana just rolled out just as we were doing this show, she rolled out a website and she's skipping the middleman. It's an OnlyFans kind of thing, but it's her own site.
Yeah, good for her.
She's going to rake it in and she doesn't have to pay OnlyFans a cut.
Yeah, she's going to kill it. So there you go. CJ Perry. Congratulations to CJ Perry. Yeah. But
sex work is work. Okay, what's next?
And then your main event.
Third hour. Yes.
Your main event. Adam, the Titan Shearer, FKA Braun Strowman.
Right.
Versus no FKA. It is the pro wrestling debut of Alistair Overeem.
Yeah.
Not a joke.
Nope.
So now I'm interested. Now my interest is peaked here. WES World Championship match as well. Overeem, I don't know what he's done to deserve a Wrestling Entertainment Series World Championship match, but he's getting one here on the debut show. Alistair Overeem versus the Titan Adam Shearer. Or Adam the Titan Shearer, I'm sorry.
Man's a former Strike Force World Heavyweight Champion.
Right, yeah.
I mean, that gets you into the championship picture in Wrestling Entertainment Series. I mean, come on. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if he's going to be yoked up.
Are we getting like? Because I want that one. How does he look these days? I don't know. Is he still
Overeem?
Is he still that one? Is he still that boy? Or is? Because there was that time where UFC was like, "Hey, we got to test you, pal," and then he showed up and he was not Alistair Overeem. You know what I mean? Like
I don't know what you're implying, but he never.
Has he ever tested positive, or no? Am I insinuating something that has never occurred?
He's a man who just eats horse meat. And that keeps him very, very thick and cut. And I don't know what you're implying, sir, but any test failures were just a misreading of a label on a supplement.
Yeah, he didn't know what he was taking. His trainer gave it to him, I'm sure. So.
He fought last February, a loss to Alexander Volkov, who sounds like a heel in Mid-South in 1983. So I don't know. I mean, he got knocked out in that one, round 2. I don't know how he's going to look. He's 42.
I just want.
He's always looked the part.
I was gonna say he looks like $1 million. So this could be. I mean, I'm fascinated to watch it for sure.
Yeah.
He seemed like a guy who probably could have pounced on it a little bit earlier, but there's no reason to when you were actually a good fighter for a lot of times. So yeah,
he lasted in UFC for a lot longer than I thought. 10 years in UFC.
Yeah, because he did like Pride even before that, right? He was around he fought for a long time, if I remember.
Yeah, correctly. He was a holdout. Like he did a lot of he was in Strike Force right before UFC, and he did a lot of Japanese stuff. Like remember Dream, which rose from the ashes of Pride, and a lot of K1 stuff, and the idea was. He would dominate in some of these groups, and I'll give you the Cliff Notes version. And the idea was everyone kind of knew if he came to UFC, the house of cards might crumble, because he was beaten up on, they'd get him in there. And, I'm looking now, just blast from the past, people I haven't thought about in years, like Brett Rogers and James Thompson and Tony Sylvester and people like this. And, he came to UFC, and he actually, he was barely a 500 fighter, but he lasted a lot longer than I thought he would. He lasted like 10 years. So he'd win a couple in a row and get some momentum, and then someone would knock him out. And, he was, but overall he had I'd call it a legendary MMA career. I mean, he was for a while there, he was the great non-UFC hope for all the people who hated UFC during that era.
Because I obviously been kind of a loose fan, but I do remember him being like the last bastion for Strike Force and the real MMA fans that were just like, no, Strike Force is where the real the real fighters are. And then by 2011, you kind of had to get the ghost up on that, right?
Once he came into UFC, I mean, and then he started losing fights. I mean, it was, but he was the guy where all of the anti-UFC people, the Strike Force fans and people like that were like, he was like their great hope because he had won. He went like 3-4 years for a while there without losing the fight. And in UFC, he was basically, based on his win-loss. Now, I stopped following MMA around that time, but just looking at his win-loss and looking at the people he beat and the people he lost to, he was essentially an average heavyweight in UFC.
I see here on December 31st, 2009 at Dynamite, exclamation point, exclamation point.
He won, yeah.
The Power of Courage 2009, KO, knee, 1 minute, 15 seconds, Kaz Fujita. So hopefully...
Yeah, so
I'd like to see him recreate that. That'd be kind of fun.
Yeah, he would kill guys like that, because Japan, it's more about, there's more freak show kind of stuff and things like that. But, and he
what are you talking about?
And he got booked with a lot of cans in his day, but it was like, or he would get booked with big name guys who were on the way down. That would, he had a couple instances of that, but, and he was obviously fucking juiced to the gills. I mean,
there's some pictures of him. If you look up Alistair Overeem, it's like a different human being. It's like, what, that guy is not human. Like, what is in that man's body? It's fucking absurd, but,
yeah, so I don't know. I mean, no one's tested him now.
I don't. Yeah, what's the testing policy of Wrestling Entertainment Series?
So we'll see what he looks like when he gets in there with the Titan.
Yeah.
So
Adam the Titan Shearer. So yeah, I'm
what
excited.
A bizarre show. I mean,
it's very strange. I still don't know why it's happening in the UK. Again, if anybody has any clue why this thing is happening in the UK, that'd be great to know. I don't. All these talents, like who is UK based? The Titan isn't.
You got to fly them all in. They're all going to be expensive. None of them are going to be cheap. Run the show in
Nashville. Like you got CJ Perry and Nia Jax and Weston and Steve Macklin and Killer Cross and Samurai Del Sol and Jonah, who's in America a lot of time. Madison Rae, Tennille Dashwood. It's like half Impact and then half like old NXT people. Like all these people live in Florida and Nashville. What are you doing? Like why is this show taking place in the UK? Why is this taking place in Nottingham, England? What are you doing? But all right.
Yeah, and it's maybe they live there. I don't know.
Well, I do have something that is going to get you interested in the Wrestling Entertainment Series. Jonathan Coachman will be on commentary. So.
Oh well, all right.
So cancel your plans for June 4th.
I got to tell you, that doesn't get me excited.
Doesn't get you excited. Okay, well.
No, so.
Maybe something else will.
Neither does Ric Flair coming back.
Yeah, Ric Flair is having his last match, Joe. This is it. This is it. He has his heartfelt goodbye from WWE at WrestleMania. I'm sorry, I love you. Shawn Michaels super kick. Ric Flair's in tears. It's all over. Then he throws it all away for one final weird TNA run, and then he does finally have his match, his final match, September 12th, 2011, against Sting on an episode in Impact. So I guess it's fitting that it was against Sting. But not so fast, because from the desk of Fight TV, we have, Joe, on July 31st at 6:05 p.m. Eastern Time, the Nature Boy Ric Flair, who many consider the greatest professional wrestler of all time, is set to return to the ring one final time as part of, quote, Jim Crockett Promotions presents Ric Flair's last match wrestling event, taking place at the world-famous Nashville Fairgrounds. The former 16-time former World Heavyweight Champion will don a new custom-made robe and bring the one-of-a-kind showmanship that has made Flair a cultural icon over his 40 years in the professional wrestling business. Quote, I'm going to walk that aisle one last time to prove once and for all that to be the man. You've got to beat the man, said Flair. Under the banner of Jim Crockett Promotions, Ric Flair's last match will be produced by Thuzio, a Triller company, and will be streaming worldwide exclusively on Fight. Tickets for Ric Flair's last match will go on sale Friday, May 27th at RicFlairsLastMatch.com. Pre-ordering the event on Fight will also go live 12 p.m. on May 27th. So Flair's opponent, as well as the rest of the card, will be announced at a later date. Ricky Steamboat did say, nah, not me. It's not going to be me, so it is not going to be Ricky Steamboat involved. But we do not know anything else for Ric Flair's last match. But, Joe, you will not be watching on voicesofwrestling.com/fight on July 31st at 6:05 Eastern.
Rich, ask me if I care about this at all.
Do you care about Ric Flair one last time walking the aisle to prove once and for all that he is to be the man, you have to beat the man?
Not even a hint of curiosity.
He's going to be having a custom-made robe, though, Joe. Does that change anything?
God, I just don't give a shit.
Yeah, I
don't care. I don't care about Ric Flair wrestling at 70 years old. I don't care about some Four Horsemen reunion where nobody will say anything interesting. I don't care about Starcast. I can't get into this shit. I don't fucking care.
Yeah, and people love this stuff, though. People love this stuff.
They love it.
Tully Blanchard's going to do a live Q&A, and it's sold out. And you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah, fantastic.
Who are these people? Like, Tully, when you were in WWF.
Oh, God, I don't care.
Like, who cares?
God.
Well, yeah, it's all part of Starcast 5, and Starcast with the heel turn here, deciding they are going to break away from piggybacking on All Elite Wrestling shows and instead going to piggyback on SummerSlam in Nashville.
Great,
so.
Fantastic. Please,
Joe, Starcast has become the destination event for the discerning pro wrestling fan, right. The home of some of the most honest, off-the-cuff conversations and moments that need to be seen to be believed.
Rich, I want to ask you a question.
Yes.
I'm dead serious. Don't do it as a bit. I'm going to ask you a question and answer it honestly. Do you recall one Starcast moment that you have never forgotten because it was just it's the only place you could hear it and it was just a transcendent pro? Do you recall
not a one? Yeah, I was taken aback that they've been 5 of those. I didn't remember 3 through 4 for sure. I don't know if I remember 2, to be honest.
There might be some big moment we're missing. I don't know. I don't remember. Was the Tom McGee Bret Hart thing at a Starcast? Maybe.
Oh yeah. That was.
Was that a Starcast?
It was, yeah.
All right,
but do you remember that forever? Like, is that etched in the annals of time?
I think I'd call that a big deal.
Okay. And
then the match got unearthed. Other than that, I couldn't tell you a thing that's ever occurred at a Starcast that has resonated with me and stayed with me over the years.
It has off the cuff moments and whatever the hell the other thing was. So,
I mean, look, if you're into this stuff, great. I mean, you couldn't pay me. You
could pay us. VoicesOfWrestling.com/fight. If you were into this shit, make sure you order at VoicesOfWrestling.com/fight.
Well, they could pay me, but they wouldn't pay us. So we did something else for that one weekend.
Yeah.
That's true. There's some Voices of Wrestling lore. There's some lore.
Pew, pew, pew.
Yeah. No, I just, it's not my thing. I don't know. I just never been. I mean, they wanted us to pay them, but that wasn't going to happen. Unfortunately, a lot of people got, sucked into that.
Joe, I got something new for you here, which I appreciate. This is just promotion, so I like it. So, okay.
Yeah.
After a 3.5-year hiatus, Starcast, the wildly popular pro wrestling fan fest, is back and ready to rock the Music City. Okay, are you ready for this?
Okay. I'm ready.
Often called, quote, the Woodstock of professional wrestling.
Oh, for God's sake!
Who has ever called Starcast the Woodstock, like one of the most important cultural events in history.
Fucking Christ Almighty!
History. The Woodstock.
Not a single person has ever said that.
Professional wrestling, yeah.
That whoever typed that was the first person to ever say that.
Ever say the Woodstock?
Come on.
Professional.
Again, if you're into it, fine, but come on. Come on. Give me a fucking break. Well, if they're in town for SummerSlam, I can't wait for like the Eric Bischoff versus Bruce Pritchard face off as the big Attitude Era.
Yeah. Eric fires back.
Yeah. God. You'd have to tie me to the fucking chair. Who wants to listen to it? God. The same stories over
My
and over.
World with Jeff Jarrett talking about the time that he held Vince McMahon up for money.
The same stories. The same lies have been retold a million times now, let alone the same stories. I just have no time or use for it. I just couldn't care less.
Well,
I mean, you get Ole Anderson up there. You know what? I have some morbid curiosity if they can get Ole, and he just sits up there with his arms folded.
I don't think they're going to get Ole.
He just has his arms folded, and he just curses at everyone.
He just grunts the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think Ole's showing up, but maybe.
What the fuck you think I did? I was doing business. What the fuck you think I did? He just curses at all the fans under his breath. Yeah. Unbelievable. I just don't care at all.
VoicesOfWrestling.com/fight. Make sure you order it that weekend. It's gonna be...
After that hard sell, how can people resist?
It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great.
Fantastic. Yeah.
All right, so we are overtime. But we're done. We only have one more topic I wanted to get to briefly here. It is update on Shinjiro Otani. The latest is not great. He is still unable to move his body from the neck down, so that is not encouraging. What is it? Almost a month after the accident. So yeah, things not looking good. As far as, I mean, he's going to live, and that's, I guess, the good part. It's not, like, life-threatening or anything like that, but the part of not being able to move his body from the neck down is definitely not encouraging in any way, shape, or form. So that's absolutely sucks. And on June 4th, they're going to do a benefit show hosted by Pro Wrestling 01. It's going to be in Tokyo. It's going to be Sugiura versus Masato Tanaka. It's a star-studded affair. I mean, there's a lot of dudes. Yuji Nagata's going to show up. Togi Makabe's showing up. Tomoaki Hanma's showing up. Omori. Yoshitatsu, Fujita. I mean, it's people from every company.
Marufuji.
Naomichi Marufuji's going to be there. Yeah, you got
Koji Kanemoto being
Koji
dusted
Kanemoto.
off.
Yeah, Aja Kong showing up as well. A lot of like classic Joshi. Like pretty much, a lot of names from any little company is represented here. So it's going to be a hell of a show to check out. And hopefully they're able to raise a bunch of money and get things going. I know they're also doing something. I think it's a T-shirt right now as well. That if you buy this T-shirt, all the proceeds are going to Ohtani. So. It's a rough road ahead for him, and yeah, it's I'm very much guessing this man will never get in the ring again. But at this point, you're just hoping that he can walk.
He may never walk again.
Yeah, ring. Who cares? We definitely just want him to be able to walk again for sure. So stinks.
Yeah.
But
yep. I think this will do well, though. I think.
Hopefully. I mean, it's a really cool card, and we'll maybe get to it a little bit closer. But I mean, it is pretty awesome. Unfortunately, I think Kano's probably gonna. I think Kano's gonna do the JOB to like Kendo Kashin or something. We have Koji Kanemoto beat Kano on that show just to.
Yeah,
Got to play a little bit of politics. I can't,
Well, I mean,
that's
Fujita.
There's a fucking
Fujita's
great team.
not laying down. So.
There's a great team. Kano, Manabu Soya, Tadasuke, and High 69. I'm in, man. Look at that team. Fuck yeah.
Hiroki.
Yes.
We've been schooled on that.
Well, I don't want to be schooled anymore.
You have to say Hiroki.
Taru, Chris Weiss showing up.
Chris Weiss, yeah. Well, it's 0-1, so. Yeah.
Should be a fun show. But yeah, Sugiura and Tanaka. Hopefully Sugiura's a little lighter this night.
Oof.
Maybe leave the apron the corner suplexes alone for this night. But yeah, we'll talk about that show a little bit more as we get closer. It's not streaming. Is it streaming anywhere? I don't know if that is. I don't know anything about the streaming or anything.
I don't have any clue.
I'm sure it'll pop up somewhere, so we'll watch it when it does pop up. So that is it for us. So we are out of time. That is Joe. I am Rich. Voices of Wrestling.com for all the reviews and previews that we talked about. FlagshipPatreon.com for our bonus stuff. $5 tier, $10 tier. Also a $1 tier if you want to try us out as well. FlagshipPatreon.com. As we implore you, subscribe today. If you're going to listen to the Double or Nothing live instant reaction, which you should because it's going to be great and it's going to be very fun. If you're going to do that anyway, you may as well subscribe now. Subscribe to the $10 tier now. Get the most value for your subscription. So that when you do listen to the Instant Reaction Live, you will have had weeks of other content to listen to before that. And then you can cancel immediately after if you want to. If you feel like you're not getting the value, you just want to Double or Nothing, that's fine. That's okay. But make the most value here. Do not subscribe the day of because you're only going to get 1 day worth of content. So that is at flagshippatreon.com. Voice of Wrestling Podcast Network, as well as voiceswrestling.com/Discord as well if you want to join the conversation. But anyway, that is Joe. I am Rich. And we'll talk to you next time on the Flagship Podcast. Take care.